How y'all doing? Hey, Dixie. So, I got a bit of face paint on today because earlier this morning I went out and I was visiting with HB and the herd. So that's why I got the face paint on today, because I was up with the deer about 2 hours ago. I was up with them and had a really good time with them too. And now I'm out here on this log fixing my lunch. So we're starting off our stream out here on this log, fixing up some chili. Oh, it's boiling too. Looking pretty good. I think that's about done. So we're gonna go ahead and turn the oven off. Let that sit up for a minute while we all get settled in here. If you could please share this out on Facebook, Twitter, let everybody know that we're live streaming right now. Got this thing going on with YouTube where our live subscriber counts are not accurate. Right now I'm showing like one person in here and one like, and it keeps going up and down like really crazy. So I don't know how many people are in here. If I do miss your comment, I apologize. I'm gonna go ahead and turn the oven off right quick, and I will be back with you in a second. And we'll sit down, have some lunch, and then we'll get to camp. Ugh, climbing trees today, guys. Climbing trees. Yeah, we will get up to the camp here in a minute. I was just out hiking. I was trying to track down some deer. I kept hearing footsteps around me. Hey, Mike. Glad you could make it. We're sitting down for my... I just got done hiking. I came out early this morning. I went up and hung out with HB. And his rack, oh my God, that whitetail's rack is huge, bigger than last year. And I got a glimpse of him on camera, but they were a little flighted this morning. It took me a minute to catch up with him, but I did catch up with him. I got a little bit of footage of HB on film that will show up in Friday night's episode if I don't release the still images of him earlier, because he is amazing looking whitetail. Hey Grant, thanks for stopping by, buddy. We out tracking whitetail today. Well, I was out tracking whitetail. That's why I got the face paint on, because I was out tracking and trying to film them. It helps keep them calm. They don't see this big old splotch of human face in the middle of nothing. So, yeah, I started off the day tracking down HB, got him on film. Then I came down to the creek, moved the crystal a little bit further down the creek, that heavy son of a bitch, for no reason whatsoever other than to take on the physical challenge of it. Now we're fixing up lunch, about to go up there, and I already got the clay and everything. Record high temps, yeah. Yeah, we got a heat wave coming in here too. It's supposed to jump up into the 90s, and then it's supposed to drop down into the 60s. So it's just that time of year. I'm actually waiting for cooler weather to get real hardcore into bow hunting, because going out there whenever it's this fucking hot, they're going to be bedded down most of the day. They ain't coming up for nothing. And so you get a few good hours early in the morning and a few late in the evening, but midday, they're just going to bed down. You ain't going to see them. Not in this kind of heat. Hey. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, we just fixing up lunch right now. Then we're going to get up to camp. I already got the clay mixed up there. We got one pit of clay ready to go. We're closing in our last wall on the cottage build. Once we get this last little piece closed in, then we start building our fireplace, and that will be the end of the live Bushcraft build series. The finer tweaks and stuff like that that we do on the cottage will be done off camera whenever I'm just out here hanging out with no camera, not filming a YouTube video at all. So, yeah, we got one more wall to close in, that top triangle above the fireplace to close in. We build our fireplace, and that'll be the end of the series. So, probably 3 more episodes after this for the live Bushcraft build series, and you are going to have a full-fledged cottage in the woods with a fireplace and chimney attached to it. And then everything else after that is just fine-tuning and prepping the thing for winter. Getting fuel? Yeah, I need to be doing that too. Well, we're going to head out here and grab the chili right quick. So I was fixing up camp chili for my lunch. Ugh. Oop, turn you around. There we go. Ugh. I'm wanting to turn this oak right here that I'm playing on. I've been playing on it for quite some time. Do a full-fledged bridge. Put stone on both sides of it. Flatten this top out. Shave all the bark off of it. Give me a level surface, and then cut the root base off at the other end. Check this out. Ain't that a pretty sight? Yeah, wanting to level this off so it's a good bridge across the creek. So this down here, looking that way, up the ridge and all of that, that's the south part of the woods. We go up that ridge and it plateaus up there. It's a huge flat area up there. And then cross this log onto the other side, and that up there is our camp area. Come out here in the middle of the log, and we have our chili, because Huntsman fixes his fucking camp chili on a down oak tree in the middle of a creek. I like hanging out on this log. It was scenic. And it's a different way to start off an outdoors episode. How many fucking people start off a live stream sitting on the side of an oak tree fixing chili? That's what we doing. Shit's hot as hell too. Oh, it's like 80 degrees out here and this shit's still steaming. I got that hot as fuck. Might have to let that cool down just a little bit more. Not too bad. Y'all want to see the crystal I've been lugging through the woods? It's right below me, actually. While waiting on the chili to cool down a little bit more. We'll take this back here. Alright, let's take a little walk here. Ooh. Under the bridge. It's very scenic down here. This is a point in the creek where 2 tributaries meet, just like down at camp. This is just the next point. So we got one coming through here. There's our crystal. And then we got another one coming through here. They meet right here at this point. That's probably what dropped that damn oak tree. Too much water saturating the area. Here's our damn big ass piece of quartz crystal that been lugging down the damn creek, trying to get it back to camp. There she is. That heavy motherfucker. I've been having a hell of a time with this thing. I've tried just about everything. It's just so damn heavy, it's crazy. We've put harness around it. We put it on a sled. We've done everything except bring a cart in here to haul it. But I got it this damn far. I got about a quarter of the way to go yet, and then we'll hoist that motherfucker up on top of that stone column that we got there at camp, and we have our treasure. That's our trophy for taking on a wilderness bush fit challenge. And that's really what all that is. We got a nice little piece of fucking crystals to set up at camp, but pretty much all that is an endurance challenge. Physical endurance, but also trying to get your mind right for lugging the goddamn thing. Because after that first day, I was pulling it down the damn creek. Felt like my arm was going to fall off. I know what it's going to feel like when I start pulling it again. So I got a little bit further today, but I ran out of time because I had to go dig clay out and get everything ready for building today. It's been an eventful day. I'm probably going to be tired as fuck by the time I get home. We'll walk up here. One quick little trip up here, a little ways. And then sit down and eat our chili. Try to see if anybody else shows up, and then we'll be on our way to camp to work on the build. So if you just came to see the build and nothing else, that fishnet idea, dragging it across the ground, I'm afraid the net would just get all tore up on the blue shale. The damn thing's so heavy there's no way to lift it, so I'm thinking that the blue shale would cause a problem. Let's just jump down the bank here real quick. I'm wanting to go see something. I ain't been back here in a minute. I'm actually wanting to hike this tributary. Woo! Sorry, swinging on trees. Sometimes you have to swing on the trees to get down the bank. So, yeah, I'm wanting to hike this tributary to find a secondary camp location. This is a pretty tributary, and I got a feature up here that I kind of like. Go up there and take a look at it real quick. I need to be looking at my ugly mug. And I'm thinking, I got this little, see that little plateau right there? That might be our next camp spot. Might be. And the only reason that might be our next build location is because I got this gorgeous little waterfall and a pool down here. That just makes it a little bit different than where our cottage is at. Actually holding minnows. I'd definitely be getting all this cleaned out. All this wood cleaned out. There's a waterfall though. Climb over this fucking log jam real quick. Try not to die. There we go. Yeah, that's a nice little feature. And I got a pretty deep pool here. That's like about 2 foot there. And then come up here on this shelf right underneath the waterfall. And that drops down to about 3 foot with some big ass minnows in here. Like those minnows are the size of sardines. See them swimming around down in there? And they're kind of trapped here in this pool because it's all, see how it's all closed off right there except for that trickle? So it'd be easy as shit using a net to get those minnows out of there. They stay up underneath that ledge though. That ledge could go back a pretty good distance. Let's see if we can climb up this damn thing. Yeah, that's deep. But I love this waterfall. It's just pretty. It's calm. It's not flowing like insanely fast. I'm sure it does whenever we get floodwaters coming down through here. Yeah, clear water, but that don't mean it's clean. Let me tell you. No, not since I've been down here. I've been down here all year and this creek has never gone dry. But it does run shallow. I mean, as you can see, it's only about 2-3 inches deep for the most part, but it never runs dry. Here we are at the top of the waterfall. And here's a little flat area right here that I was talking about. I wish the bank was a little bit higher than this, just because of floodplain. I don't think the creek gets up that high. I just don't. It's cutting down in, so I think if we was to build up here, we might be all right. But another thing is very clear up here. So that means that a lot of water lays in here because the grasses can't grow, and the type of grasses that are growing up here, they like a lot of water. So this might not be the best spot. But that's what I've been trying to think out and come up with, is a spot along here. Maybe up on top of the ridge where I can just, you know, maybe make a stairway. That would be cool if I had to build all the way up there and then I cut stairs, like a winding stairway coming down inside of the hill. That might be cool. And that would just come down here to the waterfall. It's a cute little waterfall. Ain't much to it. Good location though. I like this location. I like all the ferns and everything back here. Not as easy to get into as our cottage. Our cottage is actually pretty close to the front of the woods. That's why you can hear traffic in the background every once in a while. There's a road that goes up at the top of the north face. And every once in a while you'll hear a car rumbling up that damn steep ass hill. That's just because I did not go deep into the woods for my current build. Kind of just hanging back a little bit. Here come my plane. Live streaming, have to have a fucking plane fly through. We're just gonna take the creek back to lunch. That's easier. That actually might be a chopper. Yeah, that's a chopper. Loud motherfucker too. I'm down here. Almost back to our halfway day camp. We're actually not too far from the cottage. I just wanted to stop and eat. I've been hiking all day, hauling clay all day, tracking deer all day. Move that damn crystal. I need something to eat before we get back to work. So, here we are back here at my little hideaway away from camp. I actually fell asleep on this damn tree once. I was out here filming. I think I was filming scenes for a music video. I wasn't even filming an episode of Huntsman. But I was out here filming and kicked back on this log and ended up taking a little cat nap. Just fell asleep right here on the log. All that moss makes it soft. Alright, let me get y'all settled in here. And I'll settle in here. See if we can do this right. Turn it all around there. There we go. Oh, yeah. Busy day out in the woods. Yeah, we like busy, though. The time did go by quick as fuck, though. So, man, we've been streaming 20 minutes already. Time flies when you're live streaming. So, like I said, we tracked down HB. We got some of him on film. Whenever we get back to the cottage, I could probably show you. I might be able to show you. I haven't looked back at the footage that I got of it. A little flighty today. I'm actually wanting to go up there in the evening because they're a lot more active towards sunset than after sunrise. So I'm thinking if I go up there in the evening, I can get better footage of him and the boys. At least I know where they're at now, which is cool. Helps to know where your deer are located. I do not hunt HB. HB is a 10-point buck that we've been following him and his herd for going on 2 years now already. And all we do is film him. Track him, film him, and then we follow him around on the shed hunt. Shed hunting is going to be here before we know it. And I actually need to track down the buck that's in this woods, because I know I got a big buck in this woods too. I want to try to get a shed off of him. Whenever it comes to the bow hunt, which is what I'm going to be doing as soon as we, hey David, as soon as we wrap up the cottage, everything on my channel is going to go towards the bow hunt. The bow hunt is going to be in Ravenna, Ohio, and it's going to be a public land hunt. So we're going to be running down to Ravenna, a pretty good stretch of land down there, but it is public land, so there's going to be a little bit of competition. Never hunted that area before, so there's that challenge too, and I wanted a challenge this year. I've been doing like some satellite looking at the area, shit like that, scouting it, but I need to get down there on a hike and actually get in there and maybe set up a blind, something like that, figure out where I'm going to be hunting at. couple of spots on the satellite view that I kind of like. I don't know how well that hunt's going to go, but we got a long time for bow hunting. We can bow hunt all the way into next year. The only thing that's limited is shotgun season. Could probably get out for fall turkey too. So this is the boring part. We're going to get the boring part out of the way first, which is me talking about what I've already done today and eating at least some of my damn chili because I'm starving from all this hiking. I burned up a lot of calories this morning tracking down HB, and then as soon as I get done tracking his ass down, getting him on film, I come down here, start logging that big ass fucking crystal towards camp. Ain't got that done yet. And then I had to go back to camp to pull clay out of the bank. We're going to take a look at that clay bank too, so you guys can see where I'm digging at. I want to show y'all the clay bank real quick whenever we get back there, because I don't want anybody thinking that they can go just dig dirt and do what I'm doing as far as the stonework goes. I want to show you the kind of mix that I have and possibly luckily available to me. So whenever I mix it up, it just turns to concrete. It's the perfect mix of sand and clay. It's a blue shell clay too. And so whenever it hardens up, it just gets fucking rock hard. But I don't want anybody out there that's watching this series thinking that they can just go dig up dirt and pack it together like cob or use it as mortar. If you happen to be starting to work with stone or you're trying to chink up beams, you can't just use regular dirt. And you can't just use pure clay or sand or any of that. It's got to be the right mix. All right, it ain't gonna hold up for you. So we'll take a look at the bank. I'll show you the shades in the bank that I'm looking for when I'm digging it out. And then I'll show you what it's like when we mix it up. And I'll show you what it's like now that we have the dry walls on the cottage. I can show you what it's like when it dries out. The whole front face of the cottage is dry now, which is good, because after we get this back wall done, I have to start chinking up the inside. I needed the outside to dry first. So if you look at it like a cross section, I put the outside chinking on first and I let it dry. So in between the beams, there's all these rough edges. So whenever I put the inside chinking on, it connects with all of those dried rough edges and it just all locks together. It's like a, you know, it just all fits together in there. And it gives a lot more support to your structure having it that way. Having those dry points and wet points, they lock together. The wet points will lock into those and it'll be a perfect fit. And it'll be jagged as far as the connection goes, so it doesn't pull apart very easy. It doesn't slide, it doesn't weather so easy. It just all around cool. One of the controversial things that I'll be doing coming up on the next live stream is building a fireplace with river rock, which is something that every outdoorsman, every reference point you will ever fucking find will tell you not to do. Everybody out there will say, do not use river rock in your fireplace, around your fire pit, or anything like that, because if you throw river rock in a fire, chances are there's a high probability that the rock is going to explode, just because it's got so much moisture in it. Different kind of rocks absorb a lot of moisture, and the moisture can go all the way to the core of the rock. So whenever it heats up, that moisture turns to steam, just like a pressure cooker. The pressure builds up, and the rock ends up cracking, and then fragments of it can pop off. Red hot fragments of it can pop off and shoot you in the face. It just shoots off like, it's like throwing bullets in a campfire, really. You don't know where those shards are going to go. But we are going to be using wet ass river rock in our fireplace, and they are not going to explode, and I'm going to show you how to do it. So it's going to be controversial saying, you know, it's me using the river rocks, but I'm going to show you how to do it where they're not going to blow up. Not that much heat's going to get to them. That's the key. And what heat does get to them only heats one side of the rock, and it slowly pushes forward. So it's pushing all of that shit out towards the outside of the build, not the inside. Yeah, this is the boring part, guys. Good chili though. Let me go ahead and pack the rest of this up. We'll get up there to camp so I don't lose everybody. Been streaming for about half an hour now and we ain't even on the build yet. So we'll pack the rest of this up. We can save it for later. And we'll get up there to the build. Short little walk. So while we're doing this, I'm packing up my shit. Good opportunity to go to the bathroom or fuel up or ask a question real quick that I can try to answer before I head out. Once we get up to the build, it's going to be a muddy mess. Hit that thumbs up, share it out on Facebook, Twitter, let everybody know that we're streaming. Get a few of your friends in here. Say, look at this dumb son of a bitch sitting on a log eating chili. Everybody come and watch the same guy who spends hours and hours and hours just rolling a rock through the woods for no reason whatsoever, other than, let's see if we can do this. It's going to look pretty when we get it on top of that column, though. That's the whole point. And we have the memory of it. It's also a good workout because if I can roll this damn rock all the way up through this valley, I can pull a deer out of the woods. You gotta be in good shape, especially if you're hunting by yourself. You don't have a four-wheeler or a couple of buddies hunting with you. You go out there and you kill a deer, and you have to drag that out of the woods by yourself. That's a fucking workout. Even if you quarter it, throw it in bags, and then carry it out in the bags, it's still a workout. Hiking to find them is a workout. You gotta be in good shape to go on a deer hunt, especially if you're deer hunting by yourself. Plus, I'm bow hunting. I might have to track that motherfucker for half a day. So if I hit one and I hit it wrong, hey, nice to see you. It's been a while. If you happen to hit a deer wrong, it's just a bad shot for whatever reason, you might have to follow a blood trail for an entire day or maybe 2 days. Of course, you want to get up to him as fast as you can because you don't want the animal to suffer. But a bad shot means you're tracking a blood trail for as long and hard as you can. You got to be in good shape. You got to have the right mindset for a hunt. That rock's actually helping with the mindset for a hunt, because if I have to drag a deer out, it's going to be just like dragging that rock through the woods. All packed up here. Let's start heading up towards camp. Hey Christopher, we're about to go on a little walk and get our asses up to camp. I just stopped for a quick lunch. It's been a busy day. Turn y'all around here. I did get my walking stick off polished up again. She looking shiny. Yep. Yeah, she looking shiny as hell right now because I just polished it last night. That thing was beat up. Same crystal that we're looking through the woods I got on the top of my walking stick. Same type of crystal. Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and cut through here. Make our way down to camp, and then we'll get settled in down at camp for actually, let's go under the bridge. West Yorkshire, UK. Oh man, what time is it in the UK? You're either up really late or really early, right? Yeah, it's not bad weather. You see the fall colors coming in though. It's kind of overcast today. It was rainy yesterday. We're starting to get a lot of golds and stuff like that in here. You see a lot of the fall leaves laying in the creek too. These are early drops. Usually we don't get into the height of our colors, our fall colors, until mid-late October. So a couple weeks and then this forest is going to look a lot different than it does right now. It's just going to be all gold for the most part. That's just the type of tree we have in here. Not a lot of maple in here. our emerald forest is going to turn into a gold one. And then it's going to get white and stay white for about 5 months. I don't know, Farmer's Almanac saying my area is in for a mild winter. It's supposed to be really rainy, but not a lot of snow. Not a lot of sub-zero temperatures this year, if you believe the Farmer's Almanac. Woolly bears aren't too bad either. They're predicting a mild winter. This is the stretch that we got to haul that damn crystal down yet. Tends to be a bit slick too. And that's without pulling any weight. Look at all the deer tracks. I got a whole herd of deer up in here. I do have trail cam footage there at the camp. But primarily what's been triggering the trail cam is this mom and her fawn. Like, they just packed up and moved into my cottage. And that's probably a lot of their tracks running through here, because these tend to be a little bit smaller. And just the way that they're moving around, it's probably a mom and her fawn. It's not a straight line, they're moseying around. You know, whenever I was a kid, I can remember it snowing here in October. By the end of October, by Halloween, there was snow on the ground. And now, it don't snow until January or February. It's crazy how much it's shifted. And I don't want to get into the debate about global warming or anything like that, because it just causes a big-ass fucking argument, whether you believe in it or not. I'm out here in the woods all the damn time, and I don't know if it's global warming or what it is. I just know that the seasons have shifted by a couple of months. Or at least the weather patterns of the seasons have shifted by a couple of months. And that's just my observation from being outdoors all the time. I can remember going deer hunting and falling asleep in a snowdrift. And now I'm going deer hunting in 80-degree weather. So I don't know how you want to explain that. You know, a lot of people who don't believe in global warming says, oh, it's just ups and downs, it happens. Well, this has been happening for like 15 fucking years now. When I was a kid, it was one way. As an adult, it's another. It's not something that's just going up and down. It's something that went up and stayed up. I don't know. I think bushcrafters and outdoorsmen should step up and, we should discuss our observations. Not necessarily for or against global warming, but if we started this whole thing where woodsmen step out to talk about climate change and how it's affecting the wilderness, how it's affecting the wildlife, we'd have something going for ourselves. It wouldn't be a celebrity thing. It would be hunters and outdoorsmen talking about climate change. Now, whether that's through global warming or some sort of up and down historical thing or whatever the fuck is causing it, I've seen it in my area. I don't know if everybody else has seen it, but I have seen it in my area. Seasons have changed. I'm gonna have to catch up on y'all's comments when I get up here and sit my ass down. We're almost there. The build is actually right there. Before we get up there, since we're already down here, we'll take a look at this bank and I'll show you the kind of clay that I've been digging out and where I've been digging it out at. There's more blue shale up here. See how that stuff just falls apart? That's what I like. When it just falls apart like that. That's the stuff that I can use. I don't have to really pound at it. Oh, here's a crystal. We're gonna put that in our rock garden. These kind of, whenever these things here like wash up, this is quartz, citrine, and a little bit of rose quartz mixed together. When fragments like this wash up, these are the kind of pieces that I'm putting up there by the build, just because they have different colors to them. It's actually a pretty good chunk. That's almost the same kind of stone. That is the same kind of stone that our giant crystal is made out of. So we got a deposit of this shit here somewhere. Probably, it could be a good distance upstream, but we got a deposit of this. These fragments are breaking off of, including that great big one that we're trying to haul up here. Good decoration. We like landscaping along with our bushcraft building. Might as well make it pretty. Hold on a sec, let me sit that down there so I don't lose it. Alright, on up here. This is the bank where I've been digging all of the clay for the build at. There we go. For the build at. You can see where I've been digging. I've just been taking from this stretch. I mean, it's getting to be a bit long, but we wanted to come up in here so I could show you guys. It's been a while since we took a look at this. %60% of the ice in Greenland is gone. That's insane. All right, so what we're looking at here is the clay mix that I'm using on the cottage build. This stripe right here is sand, and then down below it is very rich blue shale clay. And we just happen to have the perfect mix of clay and sand right here to turn this shit rock hard when we get it up to the build. So I'm very careful when I'm digging this out. I don't want too much sand, and I don't want it to be all clay. I want it to be a nice, almost 50-50 mix of the two. And no rocks. I don't want any kind of rocks or pebbles inside the mix whenever I'm digging it out, which I really don't run into here. But the clay is heavy enough in this bank where whenever I cut it out, I'll get this damn leaf out of the way. Whenever I cut it out, it almost leaves a shiny, smooth surface. That's how pure the clay is. And then, of course, the sand. That's what we've been digging out, and then we haul it across the creek all the way up to the build. Get it up there in the pit behind the build. That's where we add some water to it and get it all softened up, and throw it on the shelter. So we're gonna get up there real quick. I already have one pit mixed up. I'll show you what we're gonna be doing, and then we're gonna get muddy so we can get it done. Creek is looking pretty today. Hit that thumbs up, you antisocial sons of bitches. All these people in the room can't hit a thumbs up. Yeah, I did have a little go at some moderator type people. Most of the people that are frequenting the chats, I just went ahead and gave you moderatorships. That way you have the ability, Rich and anybody else who has a group or page or anything else that they like to share, you have the ability now to share your links to your Facebook groups, your Facebook pages, your YouTube channels. You guys that have that blue wrench can share links to your stuff. So I don't have to say, hey, go subscribe to Rich's Facebook group. Rich, you can put a link up there and do that shit yourself. I'm delegating. Thank you, Shannon. Appreciate it. There's our build so far. And we got our dry walls. Check this out. Our walls did dry up real nice. Our blue shale encrusting. You see how that turned out? That's the way we wanted it to look. We'll even it out a little bit more, and we'll be pulling the clay off of the wood. So we'll bring out some wood grain in that. It's going to look absolutely beautiful. So those walls came out awesome. This was our experiment, but that was the one that we did the last time with that blue shale encrusting, and then it just came out perfect. So once we get the wood cleaned off, you know, and that's outside of the series really, I'll just take my knife and I'll shave off the wood, and then we'll have dark stripes of wood in there, stained wood. So we have wood grain, light chinking, blue shale. It's gonna be fucking rainbow bright looking shit. I still need to clean up that stone floor. Look at all that shit on my floor from building this. Hey, Ranger. The floor's looking good though, and the floor actually, it all matches now. You can kind of see the blue shale in the floor and the blue shale on the outside. It's all sort of matching, right? I think it's looking all right. But what we're gonna be working on today, we gotta come around back here, is this top section up here. We're gonna get that all covered. So we do that top section up there, and then I got some pieces that I gotta cut and fit and all that. Yeah, all you gotta do is copy and paste the link. So we got our stone walls down here at the bottom. That makes up our firewall for the fireplace. Fireplace goes right there in the middle. And then we're gonna have wood and chinking up top. We're gonna do that wood and chinking today. We already got some clay mixed up with a little bit more right there. Our water's all ready to go. I wanted that a little bit thicker because this is a floating wall. So I didn't want it, you know, just falling out. We're gonna do the bottom two. Let that set up a little bit because we need a low center of gravity on this. We don't want to put a lot of weight up at the top, you know, as we're going up, because it might just fall over or some shit like that. The door is something I've been considering lately, because all we got to do on the shelter so far as getting it closed in is we're going to chink up this triangle here, and of course the sides. We'll have clay all over the sides too. Get our fireplace built, which is going to be easy as shit, because you're putting in a block of stone, you know, just blocking that out with stone. Put some clay in there, block it out with stone, put some clay in there, just like we did the walls. The same thing that we did with the walls we're going to be doing for the fireplace, except we're using bigger stone. We'll be using stone about that size. It's going to go up a lot faster, and it doesn't have to go all the way up to the beam. We'll get it to where it's comfortable. While we're chinking this up, I'm actually going to be fitting stones in between these beams that stick out this way. And the reason I want stones in there sticking out this way is because once we get the fireplace built here, we're going to run a chimney up the side, and those stones sticking out give me a grip for the chimney. So while I'm putting the chinking in, I want to put these stones in there that the chimney will actually press up against those, and those stones that are embedded in this wall will also be embedded in the chimney and help hold it up against the structure. So yeah, that's one of the things we have to do while we're putting the chinking is fit flat stones in here that stab themselves into the chimney to help give it a little bit of support. We get the fireplace and the chimney done, and then the only thing we got to do is put on the damn door. And I want a hinge door. I want it to swing. I think I want it to swing outward. Outward's going to be, I don't know, maybe inward would be easier just because of the way the frame is. I think it might be easier if we swing it in. But we got to put a beam across the top of that, however high we want it. We're going to be putting the top part of the doorway in. We'll be putting another beam on this side that'll be the hinge beam, or we might just drill holes right into the cob, right in here. Just poke a hole right through there and run a line through to tie off. So our door swings. I don't know. I think it'd be easier just to put another small piece in there to hinge it on. Yeah. So we got that back wall to do today. We're gonna get it done. Let it set up, and then our next probably 2 streams. Our next 2 streams will be the fireplace and chimney. We'll get that done. Now, in order to do the fireplace and chimney, obviously, I got a shit ton of stone I got to haul up here. So there's that I'm really looking forward to after lugging that crystal all over the fucking place. Now I got to lug all of this stone up here to build the fireplace and chimney, and they're going to be some heavy-ass stones, too. We are going to be using river rock, just like I mentioned earlier, to build the fireplace. And then we're going to encase them in clay. That way they don't explode. The inside of my fireplace, the reason I can use a river rock is because the river rock's just the outer shell of the fireplace. The inside is like a box. It's a clay box. So there's going to be like 2-3 inches of clay wall on the inside of my fireplace that I'm actually going to put a carving into. That's something I haven't mentioned yet. I'm on a carving in the back of my fireplace, like a deer head or something like that, like a buck silhouette. Some sort of carving in the back of the fireplace. So whenever I got the fire going, I see this, you know, picture in the back. So, yeah, I'll show you the roof here in a minute. The roof is pretty simple. It's just beams, and then we went and cut some cellulose plant material and stuffed in between them. And all of those beams on the roof are going to be enclosed in too. Bourbon. 4 Roses bourbon in the flask today. I want to see the roof real quick. Here's our roof. And it's just your simple, your basic shelter roof. I mean, we put the A-frame up and we laid a bunch of fucking beams up there, and then we started filling in with plant material in between. But all of these beams get chinked. So it doesn't matter if they have ginks or the gaps in them right now or not. We fill in the gaps with smaller pieces and it all gets coated in clay. The entire build will be covered in clay. That's a lot of damn clay, but that's just the way we're building it. This thing is going to be a tank. But all of our beams, and we'll go on the inside here. You can see the gaps that are still, you see all that gapping? No, it will not stay waterproof. No structure in the woods is waterproof. It'll repel water. Obviously, water's going to run downhill, but as water's running across this roof, it eventually will erode the clay chinking. So that takes a little bit of repair. You can see all of the gapping that's in there right now, and that's just because the plant material we keep stuffing in there is shrinking up, and we have to put more and more in. So that's a time-consuming process too. But the inside of this will all be, it'll look like smooth walls. Everything in here is going to be smoothed out with clay. It just takes time to do that. So you can see all of the gapping in here. If we was to get a hard downpour right now, this would stop most of the rain, but you're still going to get dripping down through here. So I'd still throw the tarp over top of it probably until I get that all chinked up and or at least sealed in a lot better than what it is now. But with the daylight, you can see. Look at those gaps. There's huge gaps. And that just takes smaller pieces of wood to fit in there, and then the plant material. And then we put the chinking in, and then we'll put a grass roof over the top of the chinking, which will slow that erosion process down a little bit. A lot of work to do. A lot of work to do. Right now, our priority is getting that little section right there all sealed up. That's what we want to get done today. If I get that done today, I'll be happy. And primarily just the chinking between the beams. Even if I don't get the sides done or the top piece fitted in, I'm not too worried about it. I just need those beams chinked up right now. So when I decide to get muddy here, that's what we're going to be doing, just doing that top triangle. Again, we get that top done, we get a fireplace in, and that's going to be it for the live bushcraft build series. We'll still be here at camp, we'll still be working on it, but it's all, I mean, as far as building a structure like this, we've already got it documented. You guys could go back and watch the playlist and see this thing step by step the entire way. It's basically the ultimate how-to guide. Thank you, Ranger. Yeah, this playlist, the live how-to guide on laying stone, working with cob as chinking, a lot of creative stuff. This is an A-frame structure, so if you never built an A-frame structure, you can, do that. But we took the A-frame structure and fucking evolved it, is really all we did. We took a basic A-frame bushcraft shelter and turned it into something new. Just using different materials made it a little bit bigger than a survival shelter. So, and then adding in the fireplace, we can add in the fireplace just because of the size of the structure. We talked about how the stone back wall will reflect the radiant heat from the fireplace, and then we put in these two stone accent walls to the front to reflect radiant heat back, so the heat is bouncing back and forth across that stone floor. It hits these stone walls and it bounces right back towards the fireplace. It can't go nowhere. The heat can't radiate out of the build because it's all basically airtight. But heat also rises, so it doesn't matter what you have on the fucking ground. It matters what you have up top, which is why we're putting that clay top on. It gives us that heat dome. Without that clay top, heat's just going to go straight up and out. And people that have open shelters, they never, for some reason, it don't click in their head that heat rises. So they put up a wood fire reflector, right? Thinking that that's going to reflect the heat, the radiant heat back to them. So they have their campfire here. They have their fire reflector over here, and they think that that fire reflector is going to radiate heat back through that primary heat column of the fire and make it back to them. It don't work that way. Heat goes up. So the radiant heat coming out from that fire, what doesn't get absorbed by the firewall, goes straight the fuck up. It doesn't come back through the fire. It just goes straight up. So you're radiating heat out to the back. If you actually wanted to use a fire reflector in the right way, you would have the fucker behind you, not in front of you. That's the only way it's going to help. You got to think about how heat moves. Heat rises. And if you have your campfire in front of you and you have the fire reflector on the other side, there's not enough energy radiating off of that fire reflector to get all the way back through the campfire itself without going straight up the heat column and back to you. You're not getting anything out of that exchange. All the heat's away from you. It might be bouncing between the fire reflector and the fire itself. That's your hot spot. So if you want to use a fire reflector the right way, you have to put the son of a bitch behind you, not in front of you. Duh. Am I the only one that can see that in their heads, that can figure this out? Because I was just arguing with a guy that fire reflectors don't work. He had an open shelter, walls all around him. And I was like, why the fuck did you build the walls? Oh, they reflect heat. Yeah, they reflect it straight up, you dumb son of a bitch. They don't reflect it back to you. You're not creating this heat pool. It's just going straight the fuck up. That's the way heat moves. And the colder it is, the faster it goes up. Science. I mean, Jesus Christ, am I the only fucking bushcrafter that ever got out of high school? Basic fucking science. Thermal energy. How does it move? Dumbasses. And they want to argue with you about it. Oh, well, you know, I heard this from who the fuck, I don't care who said it. They were wrong. It's okay to be wrong. It ain't okay to stay that way. Yeah, so this little mealy-mouthed bastard wanted to fucking argue with me about thermodynamics in one of my top groups. And whenever I told him, you know, fire reflectors don't work, and I don't give a shit what outdoorsman says it or what experience they have, thermodynamics and physics says it don't fucking work. And people have tested it and saying that there's no fucking difference at all. He wanted to argue with me about it. And then, before he started running his little lips again, he runs to a moderator, and the moderator deletes my comment where I told him how fire reflectors don't work. What a bitch. Like, you want to argue with me and then you want to go and tattle to a fucking moderator? Don't step up and act like you're a fucking man if you're going to go tattle to mommy, you little bitch. That was a chicken shit move. Like, I'm all for debating people. If you want to step up the old huntsman, you best bring your fucking A game, son. Because if you're wrong, I'm going to fucking tell you you're wrong. And that little sumbitch was wrong. There ain't no going and crying to a moderator like, Mommy's huntsman hurt my feelings. Huntsman's going to hurt your little fucking feelings. That's like my thing. It's like my gimmick. It's hurting everybody's fucking sensitive little feelings. Offending people. That's what I do. But I ain't wrong. Nobody fucking argues with me on it. Even whenever I say shit about Joe Robinette, there ain't nobody stepping up saying, arguing with me about it. I say Joe Robinette's a city slicker little fucking sellout sumbitch. Nobody arguing with me about it. We got to get to doing something a little bit more constructive than criticizing others. So we're going to get things hooked up here. We're going to go get muddy. Try to kink up that back wall. Make it happy. Doing good on that. Been streaming about an hour, and I just got a 20% notification on my iPhone, so I'm going to have to plug you guys into life support. I'm going to smoke this cigarette, and we're going to go get dirty. I don't... here's my biggest thing with people that react to things that I do and say. If you don't have the right kind of psychology to handle me, you ain't got the right kind of fucking psychology to be out in the fucking wilderness. Because if you can't handle the stress that I put you under, you sure as fuck don't ever want to get yourself in a survival situation. Because Mother Nature don't give a fuck any more than I do. Survivalist theories. Science. Hook you guys up here right quick. I don't want you dying on me. Gotta keep your heart pumping. There are a few tricks that a lot of bushcrafters, big time bushcrafters that should know their shit, just don't apply. They're not teaching anybody. It's just like folding a 10 by 10 tarp into a tent. Yeah. You know, it would be a less work. I actually have a meadow over here that I can get enough grasses out of to thatch the whole fucking roof. I'm just waiting for fall to come around and all the leaves to drop off of them, so I don't have to strip them myself. I do have enough plant material here to put a grass roof on the build, and I will. Putting the chinking in and all of the clay and everything on it, that's just me being overcompensating for something or other. Ugh. I gotta turn this over to live chat. Yeah, that's true, Kelly. I do. Usually, I'm out here drinking bourbon. Well, I do have my bourbon with me, and I'm smoking honey bourbon's backwoods cigars. But I ran out, and I didn't want to go to the drive-thru and get any more before I came out today. But yeah, this is actually my first cigarette, man. God damn. We're gonna get muddy here in a minute. We're gonna put the work in for the smoking. And this isn't smoking a cigarette. This is training myself for campfire smoke. That way I don't get, smoke inhalation and have to go to the hospital. I'm already immune to it. You guys want to go get muddy with me? We got to get to work on that wall. Otherwise, we ain't gonna get shit done today. Especially if I keep, sipping on that fucking bourbon. That bourbon's strong. It's a lot stronger than Maker's Mark. All right, let's get back here. Okay, TA Outdoors going out and buying thatching. He's allowed to do that because TA Outdoors a long time ago, he went from bushcrafting and wilderness survival to just doing mega builds. He's building like kits. So when TA Outdoors is sitting on his ass at home, which he doesn't do very often because it takes a lot of time to put together the structures that he's building. When he's sitting on his ass at home, though, he's coming up with blueprints for his builds. The Saxton house, the Viking longhouse, even the last little fucking kids looking fort with the tower in it that he did. He blueprints. He thinks that stuff out, and he comes up with a kit idea like, this is the material that I'm going to need to build this structure, and this is the time it's going to take to do it. He's thinking about it like a construction worker. He's not thinking like a bushcrafter anymore. He's not trying to be a bushcrafter anymore. He hasn't outright admitted that, but TA Outdoors is putting together kits to go out and build his stuff with. He's not going to argue with you about it. He went out and bought thatching for his build. Now that's not bushcraft. That's not bushcraft and survival. You're not using what's available in nature to do it. You're going and putting together a kit. So he's evolved to the point where he doesn't want to build a bushcraft shelter anymore. He's already learned everything there is to learn about building survival shelters. Now he wants to play with bigger structures. So eventually what TA Outdoors is doing, he's basically a self-taught construction worker. He's a self-taught house designer. He's a self-taught architect. And that's what he's becoming. He's becoming an architect. He's becoming an outdoors architect, which is something we haven't seen before. So I do have a little bit of respect for the path, but he's not bushcraft and survival anymore. He's not even outdoors anymore. He's an architect. So if you want to learn how to build a structure like that for a permanent camp, if you have your own land and you want to build a Viking house or you want to build a Saxon house, he shows you how to do it. But he's not showing you bushcraft and survival anymore. He's not even showing you the outdoors anymore. He's just showing you how to build cheap-ass structures. I will, Shannon. Thank you very much for the recommendation. I do go back and I read all of the comments. So if I've missed comments, I do apologize. If I missed questions, I apologize. I do go back and watch my live streams, read all of those comments. So any suggestions that you have for channels that I should check out and subscribe to, just leave them right there in the chat, whether I see them or not. I will see them on the replay, and those are the channels that I subscribe to. I usually only subscribe to channels that are recommended by some other outdoorsman. So if you guys think they're cool, chances are I will too. Because you're not going to be here hanging out with me if you don't like me, I don't figure. So yeah, it's kind of like a vetting system. If you guys can tolerate me, and you know, you think that there's somebody else out there that I might like, knowing my style and how I am, hell yeah, give me a suggestion, because I'm tired of watching TAA Outdoors play with his woody all fucking day long. I always pick on that guy about his 20-minute wood processing scenes, because that's all he does, wood processing. Wood processing and purchase thatch. That's where TA Outdoors has gone with his YouTube channel. More power to him. Not gonna be me. But we gotta get back here and we gotta get our shit done, which we did not buy. There was no place to go out and buy clay, so I had to dig it out with my bare hands. I appreciate that, guys. We're gonna set you down here a little bit out of the way to start off with, just so y'all can see what I'm doing. And this is the boring part, guys. So if you have to go to the bathroom or something like that, this would probably be a good time to do it. I'm just going to start chinking up that wall, and it's basically just slapping clay in between those beams. We start at the bottom, work our way to the top, and that's it. Nothing fancy about it. Do have to have a little bit heavier at the bottom because I want a low center of gravity. This is a floating wall. So I got to keep that gravity low. I got to keep the weight down at the bottom, and then kind of lighten it up as I go to the top, just for structural integrity. So I'm gonna start doing that. We'll get probably get 2 rows done, change the angle, go up another 2 rows after that sets up. Okay, so let's see how far the clay that I got dug out gets us today. I dug out 5 baskets full, and by baskets I mean this here. So 5 of these hauled up here. I dumped one of them in the pit and got it mixed up already, so it's ready to go. We just got to mix up the rest and keep hauling. We won't be digging any more out today, so whatever we got here and however far we go is however far we go, because we're coming to the end of this thing anyway. David, that's cool as shit. Do you want me to start talking in like Japanese? Just pretend you're watching anime or something. Alright, I gotta get to work. If I miss a comment, I'll get it back, you know, or if you have a question or something like that, wait till I come back and I'm looking at the screen. If you throw something up as far as a recommendation, or share out your channel links, or your channel names at least, one of my mods can maybe give a link out to your channel so we can all subscribe and support each other and do all that kind of fun stuff. While I'm up here doing this, share this out on Facebook, Twitter, let everybody know that we're streaming, get them in here so they can see this shit for themselves. Hit that thumbs up and I'll be right back. Oh, I need a little more tack here. I talked too much, it was drying out on me. There we go. Whew. Oh, that's two. So one pit's going about a quarter of the wall. That's not bad. Y'all doing okay? Getting bored yet? It won't take too long because as we go up, the length that we have to cover gets smaller and smaller and smaller, so we're using less material. Another, I don't know, 10 more minutes. So, not bad. Do got to do the top part of the A-frame because when water does hit it, we want to make sure that we have a channel right along this main beam here, so the water runs down that channel and it doesn't really come up over the under the overhang. You see what I'm saying? Like I'm all over the place right now. But the A-frame is kind of like giving us an overhang for the wall. And if we put clay behind these beams and run that channel down through there, it's kind of like eave spouting type deal. At least that's the theory that I have for it. So when rain does hit the roof, it goes down into this little clay-filled eave spout and runs down the top of the roof rather than running down the wall. So it's just to help the erosion out, putting that clay at the very top of these two beams. So yeah, we're putting eave spouting on the old outdoors cottage too, just by design. Exactly, Ranger. Man, I'm glad you're with me. You got all the fancy words that I don't have. All right, let's see if we can do some more here. Closer. Oh, not too far to go now, guys. I could use a little bit more moisture on that last bit. This is getting muddy. Ugh. Trying to smooth it out quite a bit. Rain's gonna do the rest of it, but it's looking pretty good, right? Taking all of those beams and turning them in just one panel. I think it's looking all right. Rain will smooth off the rest of it. Just a little bit more to go. What I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna go ahead and mix the pit up. That last little bit that I put up there could have used some more sitting time. Like it's not, there's a lot of clay in there. It's not absorbing the water so fast. So I'm gonna mix this up, let it sit for a few minutes, and then we'll finish off that top piece. Let this kind of set up a little bit. Man, that one don't want to open. There we go. Okay, guys. Let's go down the creek and get washed up for a minute while that's setting up. Yeah, that last bit didn't have a lot of tack to it, like it wasn't sticky whenever I was smearing it on there. So I think it was because I didn't let the water soak in, or I didn't mix it up enough. Kind of need it. I mean, you need it like bread dough, really. Get it to the right consistency and then slap it on there. You just get washed up real quick. Time for a break. 1 second. Try not to let you guys fall over. All tilted and shit. There we go. Well, looking good, looking good, looking good. Step back here a ways a little bit. Yeah, it's coming together. Won't be too long before we have that little bit of top done. We can run the back side of the A-frame, and that'll be good. Read what? Storage unit. Oh, let me see you down here, guys. Front yard's looking cool, huh? Get past all the dead spot. That's my view. That's not such a bad view, is it? We're getting there. We're getting there. We got a little bit to go yet. Just need a quick break. It's not exactly a heavy lifting job, but it's a little time consuming. Just a little bit of patience is all. I kind of want to try an experiment with you guys here on the live. We've done this before. We were sitting here doing a live stream one time, and we had a turkey buzzard land in a tree not too far from here. And I couldn't zoom in on my iPhone to capture the little bastard on film. So what we had done was we used my regular camera, and then I showed you guys the viewfinder on the camera so we could zoom in on this turkey vulture. And so you guys could see him on the live stream. Well, what I want to do this time as an experiment, and we do these experiments every once in a while on our live streams just to see how far we can push our equipment. What I want to do as far as this experiment goes is you guys are going to see the viewfinder again, but instead of looking at the viewfinder in a live shot, we're going to look back at the footage that I took of HB in the woods today and see if we actually have HB on film as good as I'm thinking we do. Just let me find it. Alright, so here's one clip. So I'm going to turn the camera around and I'm going to show you guys the viewfinder on my regular camera, and we're going to see if we can live stream pre-recorded footage like that, okay? So let me just, y'all have to get the tripods adjusted to where they match. Get you guys in there as close as I can. And get the arms down. So this is just about alignment right here. Trying to line up one camera with the other. Or the camera lens with the viewfinder. This is shit we do when we get bored. So you can see HB's ass sticking out right there already. Alright, let me turn this a little bit. See if I can tighten that down. That might be as focusing. Trying to focus in on that. Alright. That might be about as good of an angle as we can get. Alright, can you guys see that okay? Let me know before I start playing it. That's HB's rump right there. That's our legendary buck. You good? Okay, let's check it out. Let's see if we can watch this. He moves very quick. There he is. Oh yeah, we could slow that down and get him. You see, that was a quick glimpse of him. That's my boy right there. Look at that rack, man. Yeah, he is a nice one. We'll look at that one more time. I'll see if I can pause it right where he steps out. It's not a very good shot. That damn leaf's in the way. Yeah. That's HB right there, guys. That's our big boy. One more time. I was trying like hell to get him on film today. He just wasn't cooperating too much. He was just a little bit too far ahead of me. See, if I slow that down at home on the computer, I can get like the best still shot at that buck. And boy, he's a monster this year. Yeah, we're gonna go back up there. We're gonna go back up to HB's woods in the evening and try to capture him on film. Get a lot better footage than that. We have amazing footage of HB. He's usually really cool to work with, but today he was a little bit more antisocial. Even this next clip that I'm looking at right now, I can see him through the trees, but I don't have that clear, perfect view of his rack, you know what I mean? But man, his rack came out wide this year. Oh, I'd like to know too. I'd ask him, but I don't want to be rude. Man, he is a monster this year. So whenever I get home tonight, I'll slow the footage down that I got. If you guys follow me on Facebook or Instagram, you'll get to see the images of HB that I got, even though they suck ass. I can get a lot better footage of him. And just time of day. Either early in the morning or late in the evening is the best time to track deer. Because in the afternoon, especially on warm days like this, they bed down and you ain't gonna see them too much. They just don't want to be active. So yeah, HB is looking monstrous. That's really wanting me to get up there on that shed hunt again, but it's so competitive up there on that shed hunt. I'm kind of thinking about taking the trail cam up there to HB's herd and filming them for a while. We have deer right here at the build. I have trail cam footage right there of deer standing right here at the Bushcraft shelter. A mom and her doe, primarily. I know I got a buck running in here, but he didn't come down this last week. The mom and the doe's been running through here heavy, though. Like every day, they come through here. And I do have a trail behind the build back there. They're coming down to get water. And they're going to come down to get the apples and all the shit that I leave out for them. But nothing as far as bucks go. And I know if I take my trail cam up to HB's woods, that motherfucker will have that trail cam full of footage because he just likes to show off in front of my trail cam. And I have a whole stream on the channel of HB's herd showing off in front of the trail cam. They love the camera. They're very photogenic. They'll get right up there. You see right up their fucking nose hole. They're crazy. But yeah, it's easy to work with HB's herd. This herd down here, skittish as fuck. I'm gonna take a look at this wall on the inside here real quick. Well, we got the light to do it. Let's go inside. Oh, see how that comes through? We smooth that out here on the inside a little bit. But all those gaps are filled in, and then this will be paneled out on the inside too, once that sort of dries a little bit. That way it all locks together. Only got a few pieces to go. Yeah, looking good, looking good. So, I'll smoke this and break one of YouTube's rules, you know, smoking and shit. Yeah, HB's looking healthy as hell this year. I got out early this morning. I was gonna come out here and put in like 3 or 4 hours of work before the live stream. And then just on the drive down here, I was just like, man, I miss HB. I want to go see him. So, and HB's woods is only about 3 miles east of here, straight east. So I was like, I want to go see how he's doing, because the last time that I went out there, I couldn't find him. So I went up there. I figured it was still early enough in the morning. It might still be out doing some late feeding. And followed their normal route. And I couldn't find him. So I start looking around, like, what the fuck is going on with HB's herd? Because their heavy trails are not there anymore. Where we were tracking them before, they weren't moving through that same area. So I went to one of their old bedding grounds that's underneath a bunch of oak trees. They go back here and get the acorns and shit. And that's where they were. All of them. The whole herd was underneath these oak trees. And whenever they got up, they went straight south towards the thicket patch that we've seen so many times in the series. And they went behind the thicket patch. And I'm like, where? And so I just followed them. And that's when I got the footage of HB there. He was hidden into the thicket patch. So I start following the herd, and I stayed behind them. Like, I couldn't film them because I didn't want to put too much pressure on them because it was getting too late in the day. And I wanted them to show me what they had been doing. So I just followed them and kept them calm. If their tails came up, I stopped. And I would stay there for 20 minutes after they done moved on until they calmed down again. So it was a real patient follow just to figure out their secrets. Well, come to find out, their main trail is about 300 yards south of where it was last year. So they just moved it to the other side of the thicket patch. Last year, they were running the north edge of the thicket patch. They had this heavy trail running right through a meadow on the north edge of the thicket patch. This year, it's that same kind of trail, that same heavy trail, all the same kind of tracks and everything is on the south side of the thicket patch. So I think there was just a little bit too much activity over the winter, and it just pushed them a little bit further south where they just weren't comfortable going through that meadow anymore, that open space. So they went back to the back side of the thicket patch where there's a lot more cover. So they've been walking through a little bit heavier cover, plus it runs right at the top of a ridge, and they can drop down that ridge into the creek bottom. And the creek bottom bottlenecks on one part of the woods, but there's 3 different ways out. One leads to the south, one leads to the east, and one leads straight north. But they can't go west, because if they go west, they're going to run into housing and things like that. So there's 3 ways out of that one valley. They have all kinds of options. If they drop down in there, chances are you're not going to track them because you don't know if they went left, right, or straight. It's brilliant strategy on the deer's part. Like, they know where to go, where there's multiple escape routes. You can't corner them in that creek bed, in that creek bottom. Even though the one bottlenecks, they just go right through that bottleneck like it's nothing. That bottleneck is a good place to set up a trail camera though. It's narrow enough they could never make it through that section without getting spotted on a trail camera. But yeah, they're getting smarter. HB is getting smarter. He got the heavy trail away from that wide open meadow where I was filming them so much before. Took them into heavier cover on the south end of the briar patch. So they're still running the same turf. They're just taking a different hallway. Alright guys, we're going to get back here and finish up that damn wall. Finish it up. At least with whatever clay we got left. I know we got plenty more than enough clay to finish it. I got the pit full again, so we'll finish that up. And then as far as the roofing and the walls goes, it's just cutting a few more pieces to fit them in there, and that really ain't shit. It ain't nothing to film really. Again, well, as far as the build goes, we pretty much I'm gonna sit you guys back down here. We pretty much chronicled every single part that anybody could possibly want to know about building a structure like this. We got the ultimate how-to guide already established on the channel. So everything that coming after this is just sort of hanging out and extra shit. Once we get this wall done, I mean, a lot of people are looking forward to the fireplace build. That's going to be some boring shit, to be honest, because you're just laying stone, just like we did on the walls. They just happen to be bigger stones. But it's just stone and clay. Build the box. We'll let that box set up for a couple of days before we start adding the chimney on. So we might actually lay the foundation for that today. So the foundation stones, because I'm going to use one of those flat stones, the same kind of stone we used on the floor. I'm going to lay one of them back here to build the box on, so the inside can be brushed off real easy. And I'm not cooking on bare ground. I'll actually be cooking on a stone. So yeah, And that's just going to be another reflector. The ground's not going to take any of the heat away from the hot coals if the fire burns down at night, because it's laying on that stone. Easier to clean off, clean the ash out of the fireplace and things like that. So we might go ahead and set that foundation stone for the fireplace down tonight after we get the wall done, which means we might have to bust up a piece, just so it has time to settle before we start building around it. We might do that. That might be a good idea. But I'm going to go ahead and finish the wall up right quick, and then we'll hang out. I'll do some Q&A. If you guys got any questions, then I'll be able to actually sit down and watch the chat window for a while. If you do have a YouTube channel, a Facebook page, Facebook group that you recommend, mention it there in the chat, or one of the mods can put a link up there in the chat window. Everybody share out your channel, share out your pages, pages that I always recommend. Hank can, if he's still around, he can post a link to his Facebook page in his Facebook group. Deep Woods Bushcraft and Survival Facebook group. I'm always over there. And Charles Hoffman, the one that founded the group, he's the one that forged the black pearl handle knife that I use in the series. Charles is a really good guy, and he's about to go back to the forge, so if you guys can get your hands on a Charles Hoffman custom-made, one-of-a-kind bushcraft knife, get in touch with Charles and see if he can whip you up one. At least get on a list, see how much he needs for one. Or get into a contest if he happens to be giving them away. Because they are quality knives. I've been using that Charles Hoffman bushcraft knife for a year now, and I have yet to put a whetstone to it. I've never had to sharpen it, which is insane. It's a carbon blade with a scanty grind, and I've never had to take it to a whetstone to sharpen it back up. Charles is just that damn good at making his knives. I don't know how he did it. I don't know if it's the grind on the knife or because I just don't use it, like, I don't abuse the shit out of the knife. You know, I use it for its intended purposes and a little extra. But, yeah, I've never had to take that knife to a whetstone. Never had to resharpen it. I have had to clean it off because it's a full carbon blade, so if you don't use the damn thing, they rust. That's the damn thing about carbon blades. If you don't use them, they rust. But I use this thing so much, I'll show it to you when we get back up front. It's a beautiful knife. I use it so much I haven't had rust on it in probably 6 months. But when I first got it, and you know it's winter time and I wasn't using it so much, then that carbon blade would rust up. But this summer, it ain't no problem. I'm thinking about taking some of this clay back home, because using it in the clay, digging clay with it, sands it off. It keeps that blade polished. So I was thinking, if I took some of this clay and I put it in like a can and just kept it wet every once in a while, or got it wet and then just ran the knife down in it, it's going to polish that blade just dipping it in and out of the clay. It's like a very fine grit sandpaper to polish that blade off of. So if you do have a carbon blade, that might be an idea that you can use to polish your carbon blade off if it starts getting rusty on you or it starts getting patinaed. Hey Jefferson, if it starts getting patinaed, just take a dish, a plastic, it could be a butter bowl or even a fucking tin can, just something deep enough to run your blade down in. Fill it with clay, get it about the same consistency that I'm using right here on the wall, not really wet. You want some resistance to it, but use that clay, just ram it down in there, into that jar, and clean your blade off that way. Rather than sitting there trying to scrub it by hand, just use clay to clean it off. Anyway, I'm going to finish this wall up, and then we'll get back up front, and we'll sit down and talk a little bit more. Jefferson, I'm glad you could join us.
That didn't work.
pretty good. Pretty damn good. Right. Alright guys, we got us another wall. Not too shabby. That's pretty much all the clay aside from what I can scrape off of the basket here. Throw that up there, wasting out whatnot on the clay, but we got us a wall. I got a few pieces to put there at the top as soon as I figure out how I want to leave my upper air vent, because I do want to leave an air vent up there by the peak. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Let's go back a little bit further here. Not bad. That's a weird angle, but there it is. So that wasn't too bad. It's just getting that filled in. Now all I gotta do is build the damn fireplace and run it up there. Before this clay dries though, I do need to fit my stones in there to lock the fireplace too. So we'll be running down the creek. I'll wash my hands up and then we'll fit some stone in there. And they're just pieces that stick out, so whenever I build the fireplace up, they kind of have this ledge that they lock onto. Just a little bit more stability to the fireplace, help it attach it to that wall, you know what I mean? Then we gotta level the ground out and set our foundation stone down for the base of the fireplace, and then it's just building it up. Now this big ass hole that you see down here, that's not all gonna be fireplace. It's gonna be a lot smaller than that. We just left that there so crawl space getting in and out of the structure, all that's gonna be filled in. We'll fill that in as we're building the fireplace. It's better to have too much space than not enough, and then we can have stones just locking it all down all the way down. So fireplace does not have to be that big though. A small fire in this shelter would heat it up the way that it's designed. I could probably heat the inside of this motherfucker with a candle. Shit, it's been a lot of work, guys. The series is, I mean, this series, the live bushcraft build series here on the channel is about to wrap up. I mean, we're just about done with everything that we could possibly show everybody as far as building this thing, and the rest of it's fine tuning, and it's a lot of repetitive stuff that we've already covered topic wise. Aside from hanging out while I'm doing it, you know, there's really nothing else to learn that we haven't already covered. We've done the A-frame. Well, first we scouted the woods. I'd never been in this woods before this series started. So we scouted. We found the right kind of land in the right area. They had the right type of resources to use. We went through the A-frame process. And then as we were putting the A-frame up, I think I was gathering wood for the A-frame or something like that. I was dicking around with the A-frame and I found this rock. And I used the rock to help prop the A-frame up because the damn thing kept falling over on me. And then I just decided I was going to border the whole damn floor in with stone. So, and I remember that live stream too. It was like the second or third live stream. I just started hauling stone. Like we're going to put a whole border around this. So we started with the stone border just to help the A-frame, to have something for the A-frame to prop up against. That led to making a stone floor. Let's make a stone floor. So we started digging stone up for the stone floor. And I didn't want them fit perfectly. I wanted it to be all cracked and like kind of like a mosaic. And my artistic side was already kicked in by then. So I was like, oh, we'll have a stone floor and then we'll just fill the cracks in with blue shale because it'll lighten it up. So that's how the blue shale came into play. It just happened to be a local resource that we could use to fill the cracks in on the floor, and it gave a reflective property to the floor, and it came out looking awesome as hell. So we start putting the beams on, which is your basic Bushcraft 101 A-frame shelter. Put some beams on it. But then I decided I didn't want to do the sidewalls, just beams. So let's do it in stone. So we built the stone walls, and we come up with a process for building stone walls. As we were building the stone walls, then I started thinking about thermodynamics and how radiant heat travels through the structure. We had already built the structure. I knew the fireplace, the fire pit, whatever I was going to make was going to be on the west side of the structure. The reason I wanted it on the west side was because the primary winds come from the west. I wanted the radiant heat blowing back into the build, not being dragged away from it. So I have the back wall facing to the west, the front wall facing east. So we get the radiant heat pushed into the shelter. We get the morning light coming into the shelter. Plus it gets darker early in the evening if you want to go to sleep early. It just all worked out. East and west is a perfect direction to build your shelter, but I don't think a lot of people, and I pointed that out when we did it, a lot of people don't pay attention to what direction they're building, and how that direction affects the performance of their shelter or the performance of how it handles weather. So if you know where your primary winds are coming from and you put the ass end of your shelter back there and bulk it up a little bit, you don't have to worry about getting that headwind hitting you and knocking your shelter out so much, which is why we built this back wall half stone. It's the west side wall. This is the wall that's going to get hit the most. So we wanted this thing to be a tank. So halfway up it, we go stone, and then, you know, we put that panel in up there at the top just today. That stone wall, there ain't nothing getting through that stone wall. Plus the fireplace is back here. So the fireplace right next to this stone wall, that's your fire reflector. The fire reflector does not go in front of the fire, it goes behind it. So we got our primary radiant heat reflector on this stone wall. The two accent walls in the front reflect it back from the front, so it bounces back across on the floor. Putting in the cellulose fibers, the cellulose stalks, breaking open plant material, the stalks of plant material, and seeing if it's got this white foamy stuff on the inside. If it does have the white foam on the inside, you can use that as basically like foam insulation. So we put that in between the beams. It really doesn't, it's not a filler, it's not a roof or anything like that. It's just an added layer of insulative material. So we put that in between the beams, and then we're going to cob those beams up just like we did this back here. and then put the grass roof on top of it to kind of keep the erosion down as far as that goes. Uh, and then that's it. The rest of it got to be decorative. We go up front, and and the whole front of the shelter up there, with it having the blue shale encrusted chinking. That's oh, Huntsman's getting all fucking fancy with this shit now, and that's all it is. It serves no purpose other than the fact that it fucking looks cool. That's it. It just looks cool. That having that encrusting in there does nothing. It doesn't reinforce it. It doesn't give it anything. Oh yeah, Rich, he was there. I was trying to put this damn frame up, kept falling over on me, but I'm sitting on a slope. If you look at this hill, the build is sitting on a slope. And I wanted that on purpose too, because water runs away from the structure. The structure itself is leaned back against to the west, so it leans into the wind. Technically, it leans into the wind because the ground sloped like this, and the shelter's slated back just about like that. So we got this going on. You got the land going down here. This is the land it's sitting on, and this is the shelter. But when you look at it from a distance, those two angles make it look like it's standing straight up, and it's not. It's all an illusion. So we built it on a slope for a reason. Now, the stone floor, that's leveled out, but everything beyond the stone floor is running downhill. Lean it back into the wind. That way when that primary wind hits the build, it just goes straight up and then leans back. It gives it that extra push against the wind, so the wind just can't knock it over. And I come up with that idea whenever the A-frame kept falling over on me. The ground was unlevel. So if the wind picked up just the slightest bit while I was trying to put the A-frame up, it fell. So I had to design the A-frame where it leaned into the wind, where the wind wouldn't knock it over. So the entire structure came out that way, leaning into the wind where the wind can't just tumble it over. It's heavy on the west side because of this slight, like 3 or 4 degree angle. That put all the weight on the west wall. So that's your primary support wall, one. But the winds coming from the west all the damn time can't just topple the structure down the hill. All of these things come into play when you're building something like this. Nobody thinks about what direction their shelter's facing. They just go out there and they build one, wherever it looks cool. We built one that looks cool, but we took into consideration north, south, east, west, the terrain around it. We got a cliff to the north, we got the woods to the back, we got a cliff to the west, we got a cliff to the east. The only wind tunnel is the valleys themselves, and they do turn into wind tunnels. These creek valleys, these deep gorges that cut through this woods, that's the only way that's the path of least resistance for the wind to get through. So down in the creek bed in the wintertime, that is like blasting ice cold. But you get closer to the cliffs, obviously, all of that drafting is cut down. And basically, we didn't need like a cold well in the structure, because we're sitting right on the edge of the cliff. Literally on the edge of the cliff. All the cold air is going to drop down into the creek bed. It's not even going to get to the shelter. And that's if you subscribe to that kind of thing. I don't believe that. I don't believe that if you have like a cold well in a igloo or something like that, that it changes anything inside that build. It doesn't. You know, cold air drops, but it doesn't drop that fucking low. There's no difference, not even a single degree. So it's a waste of time digging one. We got our wall up. It's a nice solid wall too. We're gonna go down to the creek here real quick, and we'll take a look at the build from the creek bed. It'll be a little bit different perspective. While we're heading down there, got a few new people in here. Say hi, so I can know who's here. I get a lot of people in my live chats that watch the show, but they don't say hi in the chat, so I don't know who's watching and who isn't. Don't get shy. Don't get scared now. You're already here. You got brave enough to come hang out with Huntsman. At least you could do is say hi to this. Here's what I'm talking about. We are right on the edge of a cliff. So this cliff is our cold well. Like, this is where all the cold air drops down away from the structure. If you believe in that thing. I don't think it makes a difference. It's no colder down here than it is up there. in the wintertime. There's our build. Pretty good shot of the build from down here, right on the edge of the cliff. Plenty of runoff. And you can see how this slopes. You see how it slopes away from the front of the build? So water just runs away from the build no matter what. So even when I put that secret compartment in there underneath the floor, which we are doing, we're putting a secret compartment underneath the stone floor, water's going to run away from it. That compartment should never fill with water. So we go back down our creek here. This is the creek right beside the build. There's our build. Here's our creek. Look at all this clay down here. I could have been taking clay away from this cliff, but no, that would be stupid. Holy shit. One, I don't want to take anything away from this cliff because it would be erosion, but looky here. Just as we're walking back here, that is another quartz crystal right underneath our build. It's been polished though. Oh, it's been polished off. Oh, looky here. Look, 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 look. Oh, let me get him. Hold on, guys, hold on. I've been wanting to get one of these little fuckers on film since I got down here. There he is. We got us a dragon. It's a little newt. There he is. He was living up underneath that crystal. There he is. We got us a baby dragon living right up underneath our build. So we're gonna get him up here where you can find it. We'll put him right up in here. There you go. Get up in there. Go, 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 go. He'll be all right. Where'd the crystal go? Ugh. It's shaped like a heart, like an actual heart. But this is a polished rose quartz and citrine crystal that was right up underneath of our build. We're gonna throw that in the creek, let it get washed off, and then we'll take a look at it a little bit later. And then we found the little salamander in there too. That was cool. We have them in here. We'll just throw this in here for right now. That's a good current. Let that wash off. Had a lot of clay on it. Crystal right up underneath the damn build. That's crazy. And guarded by a dragon. Back in the old days, people thought salamanders were dragons. They thought that they were fire spirits because whenever they would throw their firewood on, they'd throw a log onto a fire, the salamanders lived inside the old rotting wood, and the salamanders would run away from the fire. So ancient people saw these little fucking salamanders running out of their fire, and they thought the fire was giving birth to these little baby dragons. That's where that all came from. So salamanders are related to the element of fire, just because they ran out of campfire wood whenever the wood started burning. Here's our build from the back. Now we do have some more wood to add on there yet. We gotta get cut up, but our principle is sound. Our rock walls are on. So that's gonna look pretty once we get the chimney on it. But you see that big section right there? I gotta fit a piece right in that big section right there where you can see right through it. And that's just gotta fit up to that that new section of wall that we put in. I couldn't do that until I got this triangle done. So yeah. Hey, nickel and dime. We're just walking around taking a look at the build from different angles and finding salamanders down here in the creek. That's one thing. We got that right here on the live stream. That's one thing. I've captured tree frogs and deer and turkeys and raccoons and possums and all kinds of shit on film but I've never caught one of the fucking salamanders that run around down here. And then we just got it right here on the live stream. Not the best footage of one, but we did find one, and he lives right up underneath us. So now we got to give him a name, because we have a dragon living underneath our bushcraft build. That's cool. Let's go get our heart here. It's going to take some scrubbing. It's covered in clay. We'll get that up there by the building. Rain will wash it off. It'll be a pretty stone to have up there. Another crystal. And we found that one right up underneath of our build. Shaped like a heart. An actual heart. So we take this up here and we put it in our landscaping like this here. It's to help stop erosion of the cliff. And anytime we find crystals, we're always putting them up here around the trees. So come next year, you know, we have all these crystals laying around the bushcraft build, and then we have the build, and then we have our big crystal over there on the stone column. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be an awesome sight. Got to do something with this blue shell here. I don't know what I'm going to do with that yet. Just don't know. Might be putting it on the inside. We do have some work in here on the inside to do. We got all this chinking on the inside to do. But we getting there. Couple more beams to cut for the roof. You know, fill in all those gaps and do all that chinking and bullshit there. And we still got fall coming, which is kind of what I'm waiting on. As far as the roof goes, fall is, let me get you adjusted here. Fall is a good time to gather up material for the roof because it's dry. If I went over there to the meadow and I cut those stalks down, they'd be cut green and they're gonna shrink up. So I never know how much they're gonna shrink up. If I wait until fall, when all the leaves fall off of there and I just go over there and cut the dry stalks down, it's already dry. It's like harvesting anything. You want it dry before you harvest it. It's already shrunk up. You know how much you're gonna need to do. So to put the grass roof on, we're gonna wait until the leaves fall off. Things dry out a little bit. It'll be, I don't know, late October, early November. We should be able to go over there and harvest some stalks and put our grass roof on top of all of that shit and close in all those gaps for winter. I will be harvesting clay and keeping dry powdered clay in, thank you, putting dry powdered clay in the shelter for over winter in case water comes in, freezes it up and cracks it or something like that. Then I can just mix that clay up right inside where it's nice and warm and use it as patch. So I got to harvest material to use as patch on the shelter too, because once the permafrost comes in, there is no digging the clay out. So I got to have that clay dug out, put into dried, put into bags, and stored inside the shelter where I can just mix it up in there, and I don't have to worry about cutting it out. Now I cut it off with a machete. Cut all of the, I got a machete that I normally leave out here. Cut the whole meadow down with a machete. Cut this whole area, like, you don't need to be looking at me. Cut that whole area, like you see these rings? We've pointed these out before, the top ridge, and this whole section out here has been cut out with a machete. All the way around. It's a giant circle. There's 3 giant circles going all the way around my camp. And that was all cut out, cleared with a machete. A lot of, you know, picking up limbs and shit like that and recycling that. We've pointed that out why I did that before. Next year, whenever you guys see this camp next summer, like midsummer, when everything's green again and the flowers are blooming and our blackberry patch is up and running, it's going to be gorgeous. That dragon heart, we're going to leave that. We ought to put that damn stone. We found that salamander underneath there. We found that. We ought to put that stone somewhere in the build. You know what we might do with that stone? I got to frame out the top of the door. I got to put a beam across the top, and then we have that triangle up there to fill in. If I can figure out a way to mount that heart stone into that triangle right there, whenever I fill it in, I will. I might just be able to encase it right in the clay. So we have the beam going across, and then we have a couple of beams going across as far as over to the heart, over to the stone itself. Just have them button up against the stone, and then just cover it all in clay, and then wash the stone off. Then we have that harpstone right there at the top of the build. Came from underneath the build, and it's going to be on top of the build. That would be cool. Yeah, our salamander stone. And now we know we got a baby dragon living underneath my bushcraft build. How many other people can say that? And we got it on video. I remember reading a book. It was a long time ago. I think it was in junior high where I found out that salamanders were considered dragons because they would run out of firewood. You know, throw a piece of old firewood or something onto a campfire, punky wood or something like that. And you can imagine, like, in superstitious times, back in the old days, if, you know, you're out in the woods and it's, you know, you're tired and shit like that, and you're throwing this wood on your campfire, and these damn lizards are running out of the fire, you're thinking that the fire is producing, you know, that's the logical explanation, that these things are being birthed from your fire for some reason. Yep, born of fire, salamanders. It's weird how myths and legends come about. And, you know, even today there's people that associate salamanders with fire just because of the fire pit, campfires. They'd run out of the fire. They weren't dragons. They were trying to get away from the fucking fire. They were very shy creatures, though. We got all of this, all of these rings around here. I got the perfect environment for them, because I got all this stone and all of this punky wood and all this like moss and fungus, and I mean, it's just perfect for those kind of things. Yeah, right. So salamanders, tree frogs, the more amphibious creatures, they thrive in this environment. Go down to the creek. We got you know, we got crawdads down there. Every once in a while, I'll see a crawdad swimming through there. Or we got minnows out the ass, especially in the emerald pool. They're always up there in that emerald pool. But now I know I got giant minnows trapped back here in that big pool, back by the waterfall. They can't get out of there. They're like landlocked in there. There's no way, unless the floodwater comes along. That's probably why they got so damn big. They're stuck in that one pool, and there's really nothing in there to get them. So if I need big-ass fucking, you know, sardine-sized minnows, I know where to go get some. They're big enough I'd be eating them motherfuckers if I was out here starving to death. Which, you know, I'd probably never be in the woods starving to death because I just drop a deer, eat all winter. Ugh. See, a lot of people, it's hunting season now. A lot of my friends are like full-on hunting right now. They're not doing anything outdoors except deer hunting. And some of them are going state to state to fill tags. I know Hannah's out deer hunting right now. Allie from Alabama's out deer hunting. Outdoors Allie's out deer hunting. She's in, there's a couple others. A couple of them from Pennsylvania, Texas. Hannah's from Alabama. Yeah, all my friends are out bow hunting right now, and I'm taking pictures and getting video of these giant bucks, but I'm not bow hunting yet because I've been doing this damn thing. It's like, it's almost like my channel got in the way of the hunt. I suppose I could be going out hunting and just not film it, but then if I get one and it's not on film, then I don't have it to put it up on the channel or social media or anything else. It's a very complicated situation. Really need to get this build done. I'm happy with what we got. I am happy with what we got done, but there's still a little bit more to do as far as the fireplace and chimney goes. Once the fireplace and chimney's up, the rest of it's just nickel and dime shit all the way through the build. You know, a few more beams on top. October 15th. Ours started a week ago. It started at the end of September here. And then we got a break for shotgun season, which is coming up. But yeah, and then I'm going to Ravenna to do the hunt this year, going all the way to Ravenna to do the hunt, and I'm hunting on public land. So that, of course, lessens your odd, but public land hunting, it's fun because you don't know what you're going to get into, and it's a little bit more of a challenge because there's so much competition for the most part, especially around this part of Ohio. If I happen to get skunked on the Ravenna hunt, though, I can always go back to the farm and hunt down there and probably get one. I just don't want to drive 200 fucking miles to go get a deer. So there's that. And that's a, you know, round trip. About 120 miles down, 120 miles back, 240, 250 miles for the trip. I don't want to do that. I don't know. The hunt's something I'm considering. I've been scouting land like crazy, though. Oh, there's my chipmunk. Let's see if we can get him on film. I don't know if I can zoom in on him or not. Oh, you darn little bastard. Yeah, I found his hole. He's got a hole right in front of me. I just saw him dive with it, like head first, like nose dive with a nut in his mouth. He's probably making up his winter stores. Ought to leave him alone. Same with my groundhog. So we got a groundhog that lives about 10 yards that way. We got a little chipmunk that lives like literally right in front of me. And we got a salamander that lives underneath the build. We got a mama whitetail and her fawn that come down here almost every night. We got them on trail cam footage. They come down from the top of the ridge, get water down here in the Emerald Pool. We got a lot of wildlife around here. And we had the tree frogs in the meadow. We got tree frogs living in the meadow. We got them on film too. So everything as far as my world here goes, it's actually turning out pretty good. We got the whitetail, we got the groundhog, we got the chipmunks, we got squirrels, we got wild turkeys have been right here at camp. We got a salamander, we got the tree frogs. We got it all. We got the minnows in the creek. Everything right here within 50 yards of my build. And we keep them here. We feed them. We leave shirts out here with my scent on them to desensitize them to my scent. So, all right, Richie, take it easy, man. Thanks for stopping by. So yeah, we have a lot of wildlife around here. Hey, that actually works out in your favor. When I'm going down to hunt in Ravenna, there's actually a National Guard station down there that like sells tickets for hunts and does private hunts and shit like that. And they're always bumping them out of the National Guard area into public land. So if I get in the right spot, maybe. But that, you know, going out hunting on public land, that's a whole science project, because you got to scout the land. You got to go down there and hike through it a little bit. You got to find your spot. You got to, you know, if you're not doing a tree stand, you got to build a blind. There's a whole process there. And then you got to do a little bit of tracking to find out where the fucking deer are running through there, and try to get in a corridor where they're going to come up on you, you know. And then after all of that work and all of that research and all of that hiking and scouting, there goes the chipmunk again. He's just going back and forth now. You go down there and you sit. And then you just sort of stalk. Like bow hunting for deer is a lot different than shotgun or rifle. Because bow hunting, you're just sort of sitting there. You're just sitting like I'm sitting right now all day. And you might not see anything. Hey, Tom. Welcome to the show. We got our wall done. We're going to go back here and look at it one more time. I'm just smoking and drinking and bullshitting right now. Watching this little chipmunk play in the front yard. He's going all over the ring. This first ring. And gathering stuff up. And then he's got this little hole like right in front of me that he's dropping it down into. Oh, I got two of them. Oh, look at you little lovebirds. Hold on, guys. I'm playing with the wildlife here real quick. We're going to try something out. Yeah, I got two of them. One of them just went underneath a rock over there. I don't know what she's doing. And I got one sitting all primed and pretty. He's running towards me now. So yeah, I got two of them playing here in the front yard. Oh, it's raining. Where you at? There you are. Hold still so I can film you, you little shit. Huh. Alright guys, check this out. I'm gonna set you in front of my camera here. Oh, he moved. That's alright, I got him on film. Sitting on that first ring down there. I'll have it up in a video later. I'm getting him on film, but he's just sitting there with a big ass fucking nut in his mouth. The nut's about the same size as his head. God damn, you're a quick little fucker. Well, yeah, filming wildlife ain't always easy, especially if it's something as skittish as a damn chipmunk. I got 2 of them running around down here. I just like playing with them. I like playing with all the wildlife around my camp, but we designed this camp. I mean, look at it. I got these 2 logs right here. They're running in and out of these logs. And then the first ring out there, they're running across the top of that log you see going across that ring. That's actually a bunch of punky wood that I couldn't use for anything else. So they're running across the top of it like it's a path. And then their little hole is right here in front of me. We always support the wildlife at camp. We don't harass them, bother them, or anything like that. And I like being able to sit out here, especially with some skittish as chipmunks or squirrels. I can sit here and talk to you guys and actually film them because they're getting so comfortable with my presence here at the spot. That is a cool deal. That's what I love doing, and that's I think that's my favorite part about being in the outdoors is being able to interact with the wildlife the way that I do. Whether it's white-tailed deer or wild turkeys or even a fucking something as insignificant as a chipmunk. Just knowing they're comfortable with me, I can be sitting here talking to you guys as loud as I'm talking to you guys and moving around and doing all this stuff, and they don't care. I'm just another, animal running around. If it, a lot of people, they might spot them once or twice, and then they run down their hole and they don't come out because they're scared. Me, I'm sitting here talking to you guys, and I just got one on film while I'm talking to you guys. Got another little one sitting down here on a rock right beside me. And she just don't care that I'm up here. That's cool. That's when you know you're a woodsman. When the wildlife, come in and mingle around with you while you're doing a live stream on YouTube and they don't care. A lot of wildlife, like the white-tailed deer, they don't like the presence of cameras. They don't like artificial shit. They know what belongs and what don't. So if you're trying to connect with nature, I guess, the last thing that you want to be doing when you're trying to connect with nature or wildlife is bringing the damn camera with you or an iPhone or anything. That's what throws them off at first. That's why they don't trust you, because you're more worried about your fake ass equipment than you are them. Let me turn you around here real quick so you can see her. So you guys are going to be looking at the viewfinder of my camera. There she is. She's sitting there right now live. Oh, there she went. She didn't stay there very long, but we got her. Yeah, she just sit there for the longest minute while we're streaming. So I could capture little clips of them like that on film and then go back and sort of edit a couple of different clips into a longer one. Or at least get a screenshot. Like I could take that was only a couple of seconds of footage, so really not worth putting into a video itself, but I can take a screenshot of that video, or I can slow it down a little bit and maybe use it. But I can take a screenshot of that video and I have that photo. I took that photo right here during the live stream. That's cool. That's what I like doing. And now we got rain here. We got rain here. Wasn't expecting that. I don't know how bad it's going to get. I was hoping that our back wall had a little bit more time to set up before it started raining. Let's go look. See, these are all dry. Our front walls are completely dry. It'd take a lot for them to absorb moisture now. But we just put this back one in. If it just sprinkles like this, we should be okay. But that whole back top, that top there is wet. I really didn't want it raining on it. It might just smooth it out some. It'll expose the wood again. But she is really not ready for it to be rained on just yet. Go ahead and put our tools up here. With it raining, the creek down there is obviously going to start flowing really fast, really soon. I don't know what kind of weather I got coming in here, so since I don't have water in my jugs, I don't want them blowing around. I don't want animals getting to them. So we just cover them up. Just like that. They ain't gonna go nowhere. Our wall's not quite ready for this rain yet, though. Damn, guys. There's really nothing I can do about it. Weather's weather, right? I was expecting it to be dry. We gotta level this here out a little bit. Get all that clay that fell down out of there. This is where I'm gonna be putting the base stone for the fireplace. So the fireplace is going to be about that big. The hole's a lot bigger than the fireplace is going to be. It's all got to be fitted together with the chimney, so I said earlier in the stream it's better to have too much space to work with than not enough. So once I get the fireplace itself built right here, then the wall comes in and meets the chimney, and I can link all of that together where it's all supported. It's, you know, one piece is supporting the next, going right up that wall. And then when we get it to the top, we got to bring it out. It's got to have a little bend in it there at the top. So it's going to be a project. It's going to be fun. Damn this rain. I do have some flat stone over here that I could probably use for the fireplace. Probably take this one there. Yeah, that one probably wouldn't be bad. It cracked though. Huh. I'm just looking around the ground now for stone that I might be able to use just for the bottom of the fireplace. Oh, that's a big one. Hold on, guys. Let me set you guys down. I need to use both hands on this one. I think we'll use that one. Yeah, we can use that one there. Knock that point off of it, maybe. I don't know. I'm gonna set you guys up here. I'll haul this damn big ass stone up here. See how it fits in there. It either fits or it don't. Let me set you guys right here, and this only take me a second to hold this up here. It actually don't fit in there bad. I just got to take that one corner of it off, and it would lock right in there. It doesn't matter how far back it sits. And if I turn it around, looking at the shape of it, I think it'll be a little too narrow on one side, too wide on the other. That's too narrow. Makes it too small. Give me 1 second, guys. I'll be right back. Beautiful. One hit. Perfect fit. What are the odds of that? Of course, I do have an enchanted axe, so that's why I can hit that rock one time and it's a perfect fit for the fireplace. Make sense? So there we are. We got our, just like that, one hit with one little tap with the enchanted axe, and we got a perfect fit for the fireplace. So that'll be the base, and then we'll just build a stone around it and go right on up the wall. And it'll be coming up in the next stream. We'll start building the fireplace. Yeah, like I said, Jefferson, my axe is enchanted, so I mean, obviously. Husband does some creepy shit out in the woods. Shit that you can't explain. And if you didn't see it on the live stream, you'd think that I would just edit that in there. Like, that didn't just happen. I can't believe I just saw that. The old huntsman's ass. Look at all those Viking runes in there. We got it all decked out. Put a lot of work into the handle of this axe whenever we first started the series, though. If I ever, like, quit YouTube, I'll probably this is like one of the things I might give away, like, to my #1 fan. The one axe that I used throughout the entire series. Might be something that I give away. Might be. I don't know. Maybe that's something I give my son or my grandkids or something like that. If I ever thought the little bastards would treat it the way it's supposed to be treated. Because when you do all the shit that I've done out here with the same tools the entire time, like, I got the same knife, the same axe, the same saw since the start. I've done everything that I've done with this channel with 3 tools, no more. Didn't get into no fancy shit, no expensive stuff. That means something. It's just like, you know, I mentioned earlier, my knife. I was actually going to show my knife again. There's a story behind my knife. There's a story behind the axe. There's, you know, stories. Stories matter more than logos. Stories matter more than brand names. Everybody's going out there wanting expensive gear because of the logo or the name attached to it. But it ain't no fucking different than anything else. It's just got a name attached to it. There's no story behind it. Aside from that logo or what you believe that person to be, there's no personal story behind that shit. It's mass-produced bullshit. My knife, Charles Hoffman forged this knife. It was the 4th knife. Obviously, it's dirty because I've been using it today. But it was the 4th knife that he ever forged. And this was the first sheath that he ever stitched together. So, there's no knife like this. It's not mass produced. This is one of a kind. It was a test run whenever he was experimenting with the forge and trying to create his own knives. So I got a full carbon blade with a Scandi grind, black pearl handle, silver pins, Beautiful knife. But the thing about this knife is, in an entire year of using it out in the woods and doing all of the stuff that you guys have seen me do, I've never had to sharpen the knife. How the hell does that happen? How does it still have that same razor edge on it all this time? And as a full carbon blade, I use it enough to where it don't rust out. You know, and I do take care of it. I clean it every time I get home. After every single trip, I take care of it and make sure it's all prim and proper, but I've never had to take a fucking whetstone to it. How does that happen? How do you use it the way that I used it, and you don't have to sharpen the damn knife in a year? That's crazy. I've had some name brand, like top quality knives in my life, don't hold an edge for shit. But Charles Hoffman, man, that man knows what the fuck he's doing when he puts a Scandi grind on something. My axe, you know, this is mid-range axe. This isn't expensive. This is, you know, this is just your standard everyday bushcraft axe. Everybody's got this same damn axe. The only difference is, I took mine home and I made it a little bit more me. I put all of the Nordic runes in there. And some of it was inspired by Maja, who is the original huntress of the series. And then, you know, put the channel name on there and all of that stuff. We got Odin up there at the top. So, and then just right here on the live stream, you see me clock that fucking rock back there, and this one axe made the perfect fucking crack in that rock to fit it perfectly in the fireplace. Like, it's a snug fit. It couldn't have been a better hit. How does that happen? What are the odds of that happening? That could have fractured any way that it wanted to. Stories, guys. There's stories behind shit. And just having it on video is just proof. It's, you know, nobody can argue with you about it. Because if we was just all standing around telling stories about some of the shit that we've done right here on my channel that we've captured on film, nobody would fucking believe it until they seen the video. That's what you should be trying to do out in the wilderness. You should be trying to make a memory that nobody would fucking believe unless they saw it for themselves. Don't try to copy everybody else. Don't try to be like your hero. Like, everybody, you know, looks up to Joe Robinette and the shit that he's done. I don't give a fuck about Joe Robinette. Me and Joe's different. But Tom Ritter, that's my hero. The old school guy, you know. But I ain't trying to be like Tom. You know, everybody wants to go out and do this cookie cutter bushcraft shit. And that's fine. See how far it gets you. Obviously, you're just climbing in the fucking ranks, right? It's not getting you anywhere. I've seen your channels. But then you got guys like me, and you got guys like Tom, where we just come out here and do our thing, and we capture some memorable shit on video. Which is, like I said, the proof in the pudding. You can't fake it. I'm trying to find my damn spoon. There go my train. That train coming through means it's about that time. I don't even know what time it is. Hudson Bay. You know, the Hudson Bay, actually, outside of the company itself. Well, I guess the Hudson Bay company has, they have a hell of a fucking story behind them, let me tell you. Man, it's only 3 o'clock. Hudson Bay Company has a hell of a story behind them. Hudson Bay Axe, but Hudson Bay started off as a beaver trapper company before they moved into outdoors gear. And they were fucking brutal when they first started that company. The Hudson Bay Company, they were fucking assassins to start off that company. But that's just how it was back then. You know, I'm to the point, buddy, where the more new stuff I learn, the more it pushes the old stuff out of my brain. I've said before, you don't really learn anything. You already know it. You're just not aware that you know it. Which is why, when you figure it out, you'll be like, shit, I knew that. You knew. You know. You know how to do this. You know how to do that. You knew before I started. It just made sense later on. Everything you need to know is already in your head. You just got to figure out where it's at. Nobody's stupid. You might feel stupid on the way to figuring it out. But eventually you figure it out. We got turkeys up on the ridge behind me. I just heard them gobbling. I got them on film earlier. I was filming next Friday night's episode of Huntsman earlier. I got HB on film that you just saw earlier on the stream, and I got some wild turkeys on film while I was out tracking. Good times. Had a good time today. Rain cut out, which is good. I'm like starving. I'm gonna go home and eat steaks tonight. I gotta stop by the grocery store on the way home and pick up some potatoes. For steaks and baked potatoes. And do all that up with the wife, you know. Sunday night dinner. Back to work tomorrow. I'm being rude. I'm just sitting here now like I ain't doing nothing with the build. I'm just sitting here and eating my chili. I'm fucking starving. It's been a long day. Got up just after sunrise. Got out here. Just been busy. Busy all day. Hey, Tyler. Welcome aboard. Did you get that truck finished? That seemed like a lot of fucking work. I was just grabbing a quick bite there. I had to get something in my belly besides bourbon. Oh, the right tools. Yeah, we was talking about that last night. Yeah, I think we could all say that, Rich. There's a lot of things in my past that I hope is not on film. I'll tell you what, though, if it was on film, it would solve a lot of police cases back home. Because no lie, guys, I got, like, my county, there's 3 main towns in the county. And none of them have a population of over about 2,000 people. There's 2 towns on the north end of the county, in each corner, the northwest and the northeast corner of the county, and then there's 1 in the middle. The rest of it's just farmland, the entire county. And they're little villages, like maybe 10, 15 houses. Like the village I grew up in has about 100 houses in it, maybe. But the one town, proper town, there in I took my senior year of high school there. I went to the main, I guess it's the main town in the county, the one in the middle of the county, all the way through high school up until my senior year. My senior year of high school, my parents got divorced, and I went to live with my dad up in this northeast corner, or northwest corner town. And in my senior year of high school, my birthday's in February, so I was 18 through most of my senior year. And I have 19 unsolved police cases in that town with my name attached to them, but there was not enough evidence to raise any charges on me. 19 unsolved cases with my name in it. And that's, you know, that was fucking 30 years ago. They still ain't solved those cases. But yeah, I got 19 unsolved police cases in that little town in Ohio. They know I did it, they just can't prove it, so they left the cases open. I don't even think the cops that I don't even think the cops that tried to get me on those charges are even still working, or some of them might not even be alive anymore. Because those motherfuckers were old, and they just couldn't keep up with me when I was running around that town. I did some crazy shit. I remember, I'll tell you guys one story, how crazy shit was in that town. This one girl pissed us off one time. Pissed me and my sisters off. My brother was a baby at the time, so. But this one woman had pissed us off so bad, trying to talk trash about my sister, that we decided it was our duty to, stand up for the family name, and we had to do something about this woman and get her to stop running her fucking mouth. So, it was right about Halloween time. We went to her work. She worked at this little fucking, it was a house, but it was like almost like a wannabe nursing home. Like they only had like 5 or 6 residents, and she would go help take care of the residents. So we waited till she was at work. I know it was a snowy night too. There was snow on the ground. They had a motion detector light on their garage, right where she parked her car. So we snuck up to that light, and rather than trying to knock the light out where it wouldn't come on, we took blue spray paint and painted the lights blue. So when it came on, it was just dark blue light. The only thing coming through that. And we took a bull skull, giant bull skull, horns and all, full-grown cow skull. We set it on the hood of her car, and then we took this like blue slime and poured it all over top of that bull skull. Soaped all of our windows with paraffin, so even water wouldn't wash it off. You have to take a razor blade and scrape it off. And then we lined her windshield wipers with oil, just a bead of oil right across the windshield wipers, so when she did hit that wiper to try to wipe the paraffin off, then that oil, the motor oil, came up and smeared all over the window. And then we had rigged up some PVC pipe with nails from a nail gun, where the nails are all wired together. We had rigged it up, had glued them on this piece of PVC pipe where the pipe would break, but the nails would hold up enough to puncture her tires. And we put one of those underneath all 4 of her tires. So she comes out, we go over in the tree line, and we're waiting for her to come out of work. We knew what time she was going to get off. She come out of work, and that fucking motion detector light came on, and the light was all blue, and it was glowing off that blue snow, and she sees this cow skull covered in slime on the hood of her car. She panics, runs back into the house. She comes out with this guy. He knocks the skull off of her car and takes it up by the house. And she gets in the fucking car, and she hits that windshield wiper trying to get her windows cleared off so she could pull out of there and get the fuck home. And it smears her window all up because there was oil on the windshield wiper. She gets out of the car. They scramble trying to get her car cleaned off. They finally get it cleaned off. And then she goes to pull away. 3 of her fucking tires popped. Not all 4 of them. The 4th one didn't pop. Me and my sister over in the trees laughing our asses off. Like we fucked her up. And we had set this all up in like 5 minutes. Spray paint, rig up the car up, get over to the tree line, wait for her to come out from work. We're laughing our asses off in the tree line. We know they're going to call the cops. So I send my sister down the road, and I tell her, stay on the road. Do not get in the ditch or anything like that. Stay on the road where it's been plowed and walk home. So she did that. While she did that, I lied out across the field, bean field. I get about a mile out into this fucking bean field. And then I was so anal about this shit, pulling pranks on people. I get all the way out in the middle of this bean field, wide open space, like there's nothing around me at all. And then I start walking backwards through my own footprints in the snow. All the way back, step by step, never missing a beat, footprint by footprint. Got back to that tree line, and I sat down. Cops come out. Of course, they start surveying. They take everybody's statements. They start looking around the property to see if there's any other property damage, and the dumb son of a bitch starts following my tracks out through that field. So the cop is thinking he's on to me, right? He's going to catch me laying down in this field or something. He gets all the way out in the middle of that field, and my tracks disappear in the snow, just dead stop. Like I just flew away. I get out in the middle of nowhere. There's no trees around, no nothing. I'm in the middle of a field, and the tracks just stop. That's the kind of shit that I would do when I was in high school. And it had this whole mythology that the cops would kill to fucking bust me because of the shit that I would think about when I was trying to get away from them. So of course they think I did it, right? And they come to me and they say, "Let me see the bottom of your shoes." So I show him the bottom of my shoes, and he goes, "Well, that's funny. Those are the same kind of prints that we found in the snow going out in the middle of a fucking field, and then they just disappeared." And I said, "These aren't the shoes I was wearing when I did that." Motherfucker trying to lie to me to get me to confess. These aren't the shoes I did when I wore when I did that. Yeah, he goes, so you admit doing it? And I said, no, I just weren't wearing, you know, the boots that you're thinking I was wearing. Good times back in high school, good times. Oh, guys, how about smoke this one? We're going to be headed out for the day. I gotta get home. I got footage to process up. I gotta get this goddamn paint off my face from where I was tracking the deer earlier today. If you follow me on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, I'll have some still shots of HB and the chipmunk and some of the wildlife and some shots from here at the camp that I'll be putting up later tonight. Then I'll be back here tomorrow working, but I'm not going to be live streaming tomorrow. What I got to do now is I got to gather up more clay and start hauling up all of the stone here for our fireplace. So we'll go back and look at that one more time. I'll quit talking. Ugh. So I'm going to be getting bigger river rock to build a fireplace with, so it's not going to take too long to put it up. So on the next live Bushcraft build chapter, we got our foundation stone laid in here. We knocked that in there tonight. So we got to haul up enough river stone to go about halfway up this big ass fucking hole we got in here. We don't need to go all the way up. Just about halfway up. And then we're going to close in the top with flat rock, just like this one here. So it protects those beams up top from the heat. So bring in a shit ton of big river rock. We are going to be using river rock on the fireplace. Now, I don't want no arguing saying don't use river rock on your fireplace, because that's what I'm going to be doing whether you say so or not. The reason I can use river rock on my fireplace is because I'll be putting a casing on the inside of the fireplace. It'll be a clay casing about 2 to 3 inches thick. The heat won't even make it to the rock. So because I'm casing it all in clay on the inside, making a smooth box on the inside, it'll protect those river rocks from getting too much heat to them and blowing up on me. So as long as you case the inside of your fire pit, you can still use river rocks to build it up. Or if you are using river rocks, like if you're doing an outdoor fire pit, you can use river rock to do your fire ring with. Just bury them underneath the dirt and use that mound of dirt as your ring. Don't leave the rocks exposed to the heat. That's the only trick. It's not too hard. Just think about it. Bill's looking pretty good so far. It's going to take a couple of days for that top panel to dry. I do have one more piece of business that I got to tend to, and we're going to go grab the stones for it right now before it does dry. And that's just finding some small pieces of flat stone that we can put into the chinking. So it dries right inside that chinking, and then will fit into the chimney as we're running the chimney up the wall. So it's kind of like these little teeth that are biting into the chimney itself and holding it up against the structure. And all we need to do that is just some small flat stones. They don't even need to be really big, just something that'll bite into the chimney as it's leaned up against the wall there. Grab them. About that thick. That would be pretty good. That's a good tooth. And just like that, we'll stab that into the wall, and I'll show you that a little bit better when we get back up there. So we just need a few of them. Not too big, not too small. Alright, just get a handful of those. Man, all this damn work. I ain't even got to hang out and just play at camp. Okay. Sit y'all down here a minute. Get a couple of these worked in and I'll show you what I'm thinking. Alright, so turn you around here. This is what I'm doing. See how I'm just fitting those right in to the clay, nice and tight, where they don't even wiggle. They're pinched right in there. So whenever I'm building my fireplace up here, and I got this, and I get up to here, and I have to have stone up against this wall because this is a wood wall. So I have to have stone up here. These here will be fitted right inside the clay and they won't move. But it'll give it something to bite into. So I'll run the chimney up right here, and as I'm building it, these are inside the clay, chinking itself. So it's just a little bit more stability for the fireplace. These are the points where it's actually physically attached to the wall. And I'm just taking the points, finding the soft spot there where I can fit it in. I have to go down here. That might be too thick. Come up here with it. There we go. Oh, that one's too tight too. There, maybe. Right into the chinking there, where it's good and stable. It'll dry in there. I wish that one was a little bit tighter. I need to find a soft spot along here. Maybe that's thick enough. Try that right there. Maybe. Kind of like probe. There we go. There it fit in. So I'm just trying to wedge it between the beams. Nope, that ain't gonna work either. It's hitting another beam right there. Damn. My beams are too tight in most places. Patch that up. I should have put these in while I was building it, but I wanted the clay to sit up a little bit. That might not be all we can get in there. Yeah, there we go. Fit in there. Anyway, we can put it in that one. Patch that little hole real quick. But yeah, that's just teeth that'll bite into the chimney as I'm building the chimney up. And it'll fuse it right to the wall. It made sense to me. Those are just locking points where it just locks right up against that wood wall. Could have a little bit more, but I don't have... These beams are so tight together right here that I don't have anything to thin enough to put it in there. That'll do. And then, like I said, as I'm running the fireplace up there, that just gives us points to attach the fireplace to it. Foundation stone there, nice and pretty. We'll wash that off real good. Well, it rained. Whoa! I dropped you guys. There we go. almost dropped you. The rain's going to wash it off if we do get a good steady rain. Rain and weather will wash that off quite a bit. But we'll make sure that this is scrubbed off, and we'll heat treat it where before we put the top on the fireplace, we'll fire the clay, and that'll help fire this. So if it does happen to crack, it ain't no big deal. So we'll go ahead and heat treat that. We'll put fire to it before we close it. Before we put the chimney on, and see how it acts. But I think it'll hold up just fine. It's so damn thick. I don't think it's gonna crack on us. Heat'll go up away from it, not right into it. Thank you, Megan. Love you, sweetheart. Fireplace is next, guys. Fireplace and the chimney. We got to get the fireplace built, and we'll be using rock from down there. These bigger rocks that you see down there. I'll be lugging them up for days to get enough rock up here to build this fireplace and chimney. So yeah, that'll be our next live stream. We'll go up about halfway up that hole, and then the rest of it we'll be using the flat stone. A lot of work to do yet, but fireplace and chimney being the last bit, I'm happy. And with that, guys, probably gonna be wrapping it up. I have one more drink here, sit down, talk with you guys a little bit more. If you have any thoughts, comments, questions, now's the time to get them up there before we... If you guys do have your own Outdoors Bushcraft channel, do not be afraid to mention it there in the chat. Just let us all know who you are and where you're at. That way we can come and hang out with you and whatever it is you're doing. Same with Facebook groups. If you have your own Facebook group or you have your own Facebook page, you can throw that up in the chat. Network a little bit. Be friendly. Don't be so fucking goddamn anal retentive like you see some other places doing. Oh, we don't want you plugging. We don't want you promoting your channel on our page. Well, fuck you. I didn't want you watching my channel anyway. Those are not the type of people you want to be your friends. They're not going to help you. You want people that will help you, that will support you. And in order to support you, if you know, it's a fair trade. If I want you guys to share this out on Facebook and Twitter and your forums, let everybody know what kind of thing we're doing here. It would be stupid of me to say, don't share your stuff on my stuff. No, get it in there. Leave it in the comment section of my videos. If you leave, like if you're not in the live stream and you don't want to post it in the live stream, go to one of my videos and leave a link to your channel in the comment section of the video. That way I can go subscribe to you. I'll approve it. If you just want to plug your channel, just say, hey man, come check out, see what I'm doing. I'll be more than happy to come and check out, see what you're doing. Especially if you have an outdoors channel. I do subscribe, and I do have viewers who do not have outdoors channels. And it's fun. I like different kinds of content too. I don't like watching just outdoor shit. I even got a subscription here recently where she just does unboxings. Like she goes out shopping and shows off the stuff that she got, which is cool. Meet new people that way, and you extend your audience, and you might learn something new. And it's fun just to hang out and bullshit with people sometimes. It's not always business. It's not always about making revenue. It's about just hanging out and chilling. Oh, we have another chipmunk down there by the creek. We're surrounded by chipmunks. We're getting invaded by chipmunks. Appreciate everybody that came along with me today. As always, it's been another long-ass Huntsman live stream. We do tend to stream these things for 3 or 4 hours while we're out. Because why the hell not? If you're going to go live, you might as well go big. I had a few people that can hang with me the entire time. Thank you, Tyler. Appreciate that. We got what we wanted to get done, which was that triangle. We do have that vent up there at the top that I'm thinking about narrowing down a little bit. But you do want to have an air vent at the top of your shelter. Like that little triangle you see up there that's kind of X'd out. You do want to have an air vent at the top, even though you do have a chimney. Just because any smoke that does get in there, you can let it out, you know. Don't get gases or anything built up in there. and it just keeps it cooler in the summertime too. We still got some 90-degree days coming, so I'm not too worried about having this thing completely locked down right now. If I wanted to sleep in it tonight, I would be completely fine, really. It ain't that bad. Crows. See Megan McLean? You guys just seen her right there in the live chat? She lives down in Australia. Megan McLean has been my best friend for over 20 years. And her favorite animal is a crow. Megan comes into my stream and now I got crows flying all over my camp. So I'm going to put that one on her. Alright guys, you're unplugged from life support. I done pulled the plug on you. I'm going to be ramping it up. Like I said, I got to make a stop at the store, or I got to run to the store. And I'm a muddy mess with camo gear on my face, and I'm supposed to go to the grocery store. I might have to stop at home first and get cleaned up, because I don't know if I can walk into the grocery store looking like this. They might have some questions that I don't want to answer. Appreciate that, Jefferson. Thank you. It's good hanging out with everybody today for a slow Sunday afternoon. If you haven't yet, hit that thumbs up before you head out. Appreciate it. Share it out on Facebook, Twitter. Live stream's about to stop, so everybody come back in a few minutes and watch the replay for whatever they missed. We did get some wildlife on footage there. That was cool. Rich, always a pleasure, man. I hope the Fatwood collection is going good. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and put my camera in my backpack, I think. Because it makes my tripod top heavy. Normally I could just throw my tripod right over my shoulder. But if I have the camera mounted at the top, it's top heavy and it wants to fall down on me. So we put the camera inside the backpack for an easy hike out. Got all the footage that I want to get for the day. I still got to grab the trail cam for a head out. I'll run down there and do that right quick before we end the stream. I'm going to be taking it out with me too. Taking this back with us, it needs some maintenance. The footage that I got was not looking too good. We did get some of the deer down here, but I want to take a better look at it on the computer and see if I can clean it up a little bit and find out why, because the images, the nighttime footage was not showing up very clear. So I'm trying to figure out what the hell is going on with the cam and why the images look so bleached out. It might be a setting. There you go, Rich. Bushcraft Connection and American Preppers. Everybody get over there and fucking hang out. Quit being antisocial. Trying to build a community here. We need all the crazy people. We can get some links up to those pages in the chat too. Eventually, sometime, somehow, some way. I think, Rich, whenever I get home, if it'll allow me to do it, we'll go ahead and put the groups up on the Backwoods Brotherhood group so we can get some exposure. And I think that I can still share, I think that we can share Facebook links inside the community sections of our channels too. I know that if you recommend a channel, if you like the community section of your channel, you can type the @ symbol and tag a channel in your community section, so you can give channel shoutouts right there in your community section. So if you recommend anybody, you just go to your community tab and that'll give it to all of your subscribers. So we might do that, at least the ones that got the bell hit. I know I got a lot of subscribers that never fucking see anything that I post, because a lot of my views comes from unsubscribed viewers, which is fine. If you didn't hit the bell, you probably don't remember I'm fucking here. You're lost. You're missing out on all this fun stuff. Put all this fucking gear on so I can hike out. And we just sling that over there like that, and it rides right on top of the backpack without falling over. Hands free. The old Hunt's walking stick. This is my day walker. I put a lot of work into this goddamn walking stick. And I beat the shit out of it too. All that work just to beat the shit out of it. Let's go. It was a good day out here today, guys. Had a all-around day. Got the wildlife in, got a hike in, got a workout in, got some of the build done, got the film, got the live stream, got to eat. We was fixing chili on a downed tree trunk that was laying across the creek instead of just having it at camp like a normal person. Ugh. And now we're walking out, about to wrap up this live stream. Appreciate everybody that came with me. Once again, hit that thumbs up, share it out on Facebook and Twitter. Let everybody know that we're doing this project. We got about, I don't know, 2 or 3 more live streams to go before the end. That's the end of the series. So if anybody wants to come in and get in on this and say that they were part of the live Bushcraft build series, they are more than welcome to come in late. Doesn't matter when you come in, as long as you come in. Anybody that was with me during this live Bushcraft build series, the main supporters, those who sent me a super chat and all that fun stuff, when we get the build completely done next summer, we are going to be carving everybody's name in stone and leaving the stone there as a time capsule at the camp. I'll have everybody's name in it that was part of the build. Everybody that hung out with me long enough to get their name carved in stone. We're going to have that up there. We're going to have it sitting off to the side where whether you want your channel name or your actual name carved in this stone, it don't matter. It's up to you. I'll get in touch with everybody. And we're going to do that on a live stream too. I'll bring out a diamond bit on a Dremel, battery powered Dremel. And we'll sit down one day and we'll just carve everybody's name in stones, put some dates on there, and then set it off to the side, and that stone will be there long after the shoulder, and we are gone. So somebody like me later on in the future might dig it up. There'll be a story there that they try to uncover, and they probably won't be able to because we're a secret society like that. But your name will be known at the Huntsman camp. At least the foundations of the build will still be there. That stone floor will always be there until somebody like me comes along and moves it. So they'll at least have some remnants of a structure and a name or a stone with a bunch of names carved in it. So they're going to want to look into that and figure out what the hell happened down here in this valley. Then they'll find that stone column over there in the meadow with a giant crystal sitting on top of it and say, why the fuck did they do this? Makes no sense. And that'll be another mystery. Next thing you know, we'll all be old and gray, and they'll be making a movie about this valley, saying some weird shit happened down in here. But yeah, we're going to make a time capsule. Everybody's name carved in stone right there at the camp. So whenever somebody digs the camp up, some archaeologist or some hiker or some hunter somewhere in the distant future comes through this bit of property, finds the remnants of this build, and finds that crystal sitting on top of that stone column that's been standing there since the fucking 1800s, so it ain't going anywhere anytime soon. They're going to have some questions. We're going to leave them a mystery. We're going to leave a story behind. We're making a story right now. We're chronicling our story right now. But we're going to leave an adventure behind for somebody else too. A mystery that they might try to figure out, or they might just blow off until the next one comes around. But there's going to be a myth behind this valley one day. Some weird shit happened down here back in the past. We're not exactly sure what it was, but you know how stories go. If they even get part of the story, they'll spin it off into some fantasy level shit. And it'll be really great, or it'll be really bad. Hey Megan, your crows came to see me. Coming up on the thicket patch, guys. I got one more stretch of creek down here, and then I'm gonna have to cut off the live stream and put my iPhone away so I don't drop it in the water or lose it in the thicket patch as I'm getting out. Our bushcraft build, as beautiful as the valley is, once you get back there, is surrounded on all sides by this massive wall of thorns. Everything on that side of the creek is thorn bushes. So we are surrounded by thorns. There's one way in and one way out, and that's the creek. But even following the creek, there comes to a point where you either go through the thicket patch or you don't go anywhere at all. So this is the spot where I normally cut the live stream off, guys. Appreciate everybody that stopped by. Everybody that hung out with me the entire time. We're gonna go ahead and cut it off right here. Hey Megan, I'll be home in about an hour, honey. If you're around, hit me up on Facebook so we can catch up. All right, you guys have a good night. I'll catch you next time.